example, we're traveling. You guys can do that travel a little. I will be compressing some of this travel, make it a little bit faster for you guys. But there are basic goals which we always have. And so as you are on the road now, there's going to be some things that you need to nail down. Of course, when there's an established road to where you're going, it's not as important as when you are camping off-road, right? So let's just establish this right now. If everybody can look at specifically their ranks in Explore, and also their ranks in all right. So this is the four kinds of roles. We don't have to have roles as long as these four are covered with income. One person needs to be the guide. The guide's job is to be in charge of all the decisions to the not to go and you guys on consumer lives. Of course, they're going to be a dictator, but as people just talk things through, somebody has to make the call. At the end of the day, like, okay, that's the guide. The guide typically has a superior travel skill. They could have 6 in trouble. So if you have 5 or 6, if you have 5, it's travel. So what happens? You have 5. So into you have 6. So you guys will be guys and back that second. Scout, we try to send in trails. Typically, a scout would be called upon to find a suitable location for sitting at the camp.
I got 5 minutes
in Explore. So that might be a good role for you. Huntsman, in charge of hunting the wild after he runs out. 2 weeks. So who would have a good hunting skill?
I have a 5.
Okay.
I have 5.
Alright, so numbers down to guide. And then a lookout people, there's in charge of keeping watch. There's always people that watch at night. You're all but the lookout man would be, lookout person would be a high awareness.
Yep.
Okay. What? Yeah. So it sounds like you 2 guys would be good scouts. Sorry, lookouts. Yeah, two lookouts. You guys can write them down in your second sheet. And then, do you guys want to flip a coin, or just want who's going to be?
I think you guide if you're going.
I can flip. Ferret.
And then, Katie, did you say you've got the explore skill?
I got
You'll be the scout?
Yeah.
Okay. So, the Hobbit is the scout. The Dunlending, you are the guide.
Huntsman.
And the ranger is the huntsman, and then we have 2 lookouts.
Who's the ranger? What's the name?
Ferret. F-A-R-E-T.
Sorry, what's your character? Also. And then you and me are going to help.
So you guys need to decide.
Oh, all right.
Yeah. I need to buy myself an easel next time.
I
that.
Is the.
Then I'll bet it.
Well, so I had intended for you to be over there on that end as the GM with the whiteboard and all that stuff over there.
Okay.
So that was.
But don't worry about it. It's not your fault at all.
Corey, how do you spell Irish?
EIRIK.
But I'd like to have one of my own eventually. It'd be good for me to have.
Sure.
And then kind of spell your name? You're also looking at that, right?
Yes, let's have L-I-F-S-T-A.
What's the name again? Lifespan.
Lifespan.
Yeah, L-I-F-S-T-A-N.
Surprisingly uncomplicated to spell.
Yeah. So about fellowship focus, what do you guys have down your roles?
I feel.
Since we have adventure.
We got 373 amigos if you want to.
Affiliateship with the party.
Yeah, you're both bardings. Dunlending's kind of one of those people who is kind of with you and yet is a little bit aloof perhaps because you feel a sense of bond with them because we're all on the same quest together, but they're different than you are and you're still overcoming some of that racial tension from the past where perhaps just feeling ostracized, and you're overcoming that as a double
At least
ending.
there's no actual people from.
So we are now streaming, just so you know.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay.
The YouTube channel.
Very good. All right, so now we have all those roles figured out for our campaign.
Don't be hasty.
We better get going. Let's be hasty now, just joking. So, all right. So at this point, the guy, and this is really your wheelhouse because you're getting down. I mean, here's the other half of this. I'm going to give this to you as the kind of being the responsible person. But you're going right past Dunlens. So yeah. So okay. So now you've got your roles. You're riding along the Old South Road from Bree.
Sounds like a song. Riding along on the Old South Road.
That's right. And there are no towns along this way. You notice it's conspicuously absent. But you do pass many travelers who camp near the road at night. And the first few days pass uneventfully. So again, compressed travel, we're not going to go through every night setting a watch and camping and so forth, but we will be doing that in the future.
Should we determine a general marching order from the travel?
Yeah, so we can do. But as I said, on the road, because it's wide, you can go 2 or 3 wide if you want to. So who's going to be the front and the back?
It would seem that the guide and the scout should be in the front.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
absolutely. So guide the scout at the front, and lookouts, where do you want to be? You want to be towards the back, towards the front, kind of one on each end?
One
On the sides?
Well, I would like in back just because my bow is the strongest thing I've got.
Okay.
And it gives me a little, I know it sounds bad, but it gives me some cushion
Yeah.
before
Absolutely.
something attacks me.
Yeah, it's that
Not only
very-
that, but my awareness allows me to kind of keep an eye on things in the back.
So you're scanning things from the back. Where are you?
I guess I'll take a position beside them.
You can, and also you might be wanting to consider keeping your eyes on the sides.
I'm sure they can see just fine up the road, so I'm.
Yeah, you just so that you're not surprised by anything that might be coming from the side. Yeah. Okay, good. Is that all good? Everybody okay there?
I'm riding towards, not in between people, I'm riding on one of the edges so that if I happen to see game trails as we go along.
Very good. Keeping
And
an eye out.
I start looking for that on day 1, not when we run out of food.
You're like, why would we wait till we're out of food? And
I'm a ranger. I've pretty much always lived off the land,
Yes.
so I just kind of watch for
None of
that.
this comfy hobbit food.
You should,
Who wants some roasted?
Always the comfy hobbit food when I can visit and say hello.
Yes, yes.
Only for a day or 2 at a time.
5 meals in the pack per day, so
yeah.
But we
Yeah,
also
she
have a
specified
hobbit
how
who
many
eats
meals
hobbit.
that yes.
it was 4.
2 weeks for hobbits is actually 4 weeks for the rest of you. No, actually, it's 2 weeks for you. They planned according to your.
They have trouble with humans. They know what we eat.
That's right.
We
Yeah.
would not waste food on anyone.
This is
But
true. But
Hoppy.
5 meals
Hoppy
for a
is
hobbit
hobbit
might
level.
still be 2
Hoppy has a
for a human that's full grown. I'm not sure how the ratio in that is. Okay. All right. Very good. So, okay, one moment, please. Okay. So as you're going along, first few days, as I say, pass uneventfully. You see there's a junction of a if you can imagine this, the road as you're going along through just gently rolling landscape. Off to your right, another road kind of joins yours, kind of a Y, and there's a signpost, an old wooden signpost that says Starn Ford, that way so many miles. Of course, you know that that's the way back into the Shire from the south. But you guys continue on riding on the Old South Road. And after about 2 days or 3 days, you...
Can I use my song ability just for
Yeah.
the fun of it?
Sure,
I
sure.
don't know if that'll create.
No,
I'll
you're
probably
sure I
get
would.
attacked, but Is there
don't assume that. Go ahead and roll your song skills, and you'll need to also use your feet dice. So
Matrix is smoking.
You open it this way.
Okay.
And then
Sorry.
you want to use, that's okay.
How many die?
So you want to use the feet die, and then the number of
This
rings.
one?
Yep. Plus the number of six-sided dice for song. So
Right.
you've got 4. So go ahead and roll that along with all 4.
This and that's a Gandalf.
Yep. And then roll the 4.
4 leaves.
What are you doing?
He's singing.
Okay.
Just
He's
a
singing
little
well.
Okay, so you've got a 6 on there, and that's a Gandalf rune. Well, that's not. That's the Gandalf rune. That's the great success. Or so basically, you didn't just succeed automatically with the Gandalf rune, but you succeeded. You had a great success. So, describe your singing. What do you sing about, and also
Traveling the old South Road.
Like a little bluegrass going on.
Harmonize with yourself.
He brings out, a little harmonica. Okay.
Maybe
So
everybody else joins in.
the rest of you are cheered up by this musical companion, and you're all feeling pretty good. So you are looking forward to this quest, and you begin to feel a little bit more like you're starting to gel a little bit more. You're getting to know each other a little bit more, and how you're all different. You start making a little small talk along the way, and letting your guard down a little bit more, and finding this really fascinating to hear each other's stories. What it's like to live as a hobbit over so many years, and as a ranger, comparing notes, and then of course also the Bardings and what they have to tell about their city of Dale and how they've established it over many years, and even stories of something you didn't know about how in the War of the Ring, the people of Dale were attacked by an army from Mordor, and so there was a lot of bravery and courage that you guys may have been young at that point, but maybe that's where you got your first taste of combat, was defending your people, and then the Dunlanding, sharing about what it's been like to be forgiven, as it were, and included in a way that beforehand they were really kind of sidelined. Now they've been given a home, and they have a place too at the table. All right, so you are all now drawn close to Tharbad, which it's always been known as a ruined city from long ago. Does anybody here have what kind of lore does anybody have in their traits?
Lore and armor.
I have a
Bingo.
Cool. He said something.
He's got a 5.
He's got old lore and Smithcraft.
Okay. So between the combination of Drake
And I've got
and
no more.
Misty Mountain.
very good. Well, you guys, that's amazing. Listen to this. The combination here of lore really, this just shows how wise Mary Pippin were in putting you together. Because the combination of Misty Mountains lore, Old lore, Arnor lore, Elven lore, all these things together, and Shire lore, right? You should just put that down, Poppy. You should just put that on one of your traits, Shire lore, because you've been around the block a few years, and you
I
know.
have.
Yeah. Okay.
Poppy is amazing. Do
So.
not underestimate Poppy.
Okay, so what you know, actually, your character, it comes to mind that Tharbad was a port that many centuries ago was able to actually have seagoing vessels that came up to it. And a fort was raised there to guard this famous bridge. And then there's these fens. It's very kind of swampy near the river, and so these causeways really take people up higher and higher than this great bridge. But what happened was, after the Great Plague, the bridge of Tharbad was no longer maintained and it fell apart. So you would be able to tell the rest of the company a
I
little
would
bit
freely
about this.
share this sort of information.
So as Ferrith, the ranger, shares this information with all of you, you're kind of amazed, really, that as you approach it, you see how much construction has been done to kind of rebuild The causeways, the old bridge is looking really, really good now. It certainly was tricky crossing before, and the city of Tharbad is being rebuilt. Let's see. You notice that this is the River Grey Flood that you're crossing over. It's being rebuilt. The city of Tharbad is being rebuilt in stone. And you notice that there are many dwarf masons who the king has hired to supervise the construction process. So they're the engineers. And they're rebuilding. So this is a pretty significant project.
Darn gentrification.
I know, right? By the way, anytime you attempt a roll and succeed, there's a place on the right-hand side of your sheet which says skill groups. So in the same row as whatever skill you attempt, you put a check mark in that star. So for you, because again you're getting into the role-playing, Corey,
Right.
and you attempted song and succeeded, put a
Right.
check mark on that same row.
Custom.
It'll be custom, yeah. So and each of those ticks equals an advancement point that I award you at the end of each session. So
Should I erase the ones from last year?
yeah. If you have some from last year, you should erase those. Sorry about that, I forgot.
Is it any success, or is it only if you get a 6?
Any success?
Okay.
Yep. All right. So you pass over the river and the bridge.
We at least wave to the dwarves as we go by.
You can, yeah, sure. You just say that you do. I mean, you don't have to ask me. Yeah.
I share some.
Okay. You stop the company and just a minute.
Just a mug with one of them.
All right. So you go down and one of the dwarves kind of looks underneath his brows at you, but when you're explaining
I
the
bring fine beer and I hold out the keg.
okay, the vintage has definitely has impressed upon the dwarves. They know the beer of the Prancing Pony, and so they are quite thankful for some cold. Well, not that cold, but it's
Lukewarm.
temperature.
I'm worried.
Temperature.
I was a little worried that you were going to be rushed by the dwarves, being that you only had one thing of beer.
Oh, yeah. So they thank you and drain it as quickly as
A
possible.
gift to the master builders.
They are very pleased, and for this act of courtesy, you may add an experience point to the top of the front sheet. All right, so you pass over the bridge Tharbad, and you're on your way now to the second section of your map. You may want to just show that to the rest of the company there. Your guide has known these lands well from the River Grey Flood to Rohan is an area well traveled by the Dunlendings. So you feel confident under your guide's direction.
Do you see anything that's familiar?
All right. So as you're going along, so this is another day or two down along the Old South Road. As you see on your left-hand side, the mountains drawing near. This would be the southern edge of the Misty Mountains. And far off, you can just see the kind of almost a smoky haze. Not smoky in the sense of burning, but just kind of a gray blur of the forest of Dunland Fells, which I'm not sure which part your character comes from, but you can kind of just decide that. There's typically Dunlendings that come from the mountains, Dunlendings that are from the woods, and then those that live on the plains. So, but anyway, so on this would be day probably about, let's see here. So this would be about day 5 since you left Bree. As the road passes near the Dunland Fells in the afternoon, a thick fog slowly pours down the hills because the temperature is starting to get cool. Again, the nights are getting, the days are getting shorter, and you just see this fog, just as it would do at this time of year, starting to drift down. And except that this fog, you notice, and the scouts pick up on this first, that this thick fog is actually covering the road ahead of you. But you're on a road. you know should be okay.
I'm all the same going to balance my blade. Just don't follow my saddle. Just admiring it.
Okay, you're making sure that you're ready for something like this that you need to.
No, I'm
Yeah.
keeping my bow on the edge of my saddle as well.
Okay, when you see you keeping, so you just have it on the side.
No, like on the front. Are there any English saddles?
Whatever you want it to look like, okay, within reason, crafter.
I love
It can't
the amount
resemble a
of
troll.
research that you have to put into things. It makes me so
I
happy.
simply wondered about this.
I was just saying,
I
you
may
can't
not-
look like a troll.
I may not enjoy fighting.
We'll carve out a troll when we kill one.
Sorry.
I may not enjoy fighting orcs and so forth, but I know that it's better to be prepared.
Exactly. Okay.
Since my party seems to be growing uneasy based on the mists coming across the road, I do feel like I should share that my people have a great talent at tracking. I've got the racial rumor of the earth, which is the trick where you listen to the ground and you can hear things moving around. It'll be used once per day, but if we wish to make sure there's nothing hidden in the fog, I'm more than happy to do so.
Shove the rest of you in here, and then the two of us, you and one other, ride to the fog.
I can probably hear it from here.
Sounds like a lovely idea. I will hang back. My bow will not be much good in the fog. And while my sword is sturdy and wonderful,
At this point, the
my arms
fog
are short.
has now also covered the road behind you.
So it's closing in.
Yeah. It's not dark. It's a bright fog. I mean, it's still daytime, but it's definitely.
It feels ominous.
May I dismount, if the party is stopped, may I dismount and see if I can hear anything?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, you go ahead and make an attempt to.
I believe it's the hunting roll.
You want to look that up? We can do that. All right. How about if I look it up?
Okay, it's in the
Yeah. Oh, actually,
it's in the Rivendell book.
Okay. Rumor of the Earth.
I think it's like 125.
Okay.
Or at least I have that page number written
Yeah.
down.
You know what? That's pretty handy.
After Poppy said something about her bow, I now grab my sword.
Here we go.
So I stretch myself upon the ground with my ear pressed to the turf to decipher the sounds of the earth. I can hear it groan when the enemy treads upon it, or echo the distant gallop of horses, or sing in tune with the rushing, tumbling waters. It is a hunting rule, and on a success, the lore master must give you a useful piece of information about a quarry you are hunting, or a place you are seeking. The higher the quality of success, the more information you obtain. Additionally, if the hunting roll is successful, you may spend 1 hope point every roll you make until sundown or sunrise, using a movement, perception, or skill survival thing free. From a benefits from a free attribute bonus.
Okay, that part I'll need to remember. Go ahead and
Okay.
make a roll.
I am just listening to see if there's anything suspicious moving in the fog that might be moving towards us. 17, 21.
Yeah. Okay, good. So 21 altogether. No sixes.
No sixes at
Okay.
all.
All right. Yeah. So you stretch yourself on and you listen carefully, and as a ranger, you hear. It seems far off, but you hear the sound of day of the birds, the crows of Dunland, and it seems like they're making a big racket. You don't know what it's about, but you hear a lot of the birds, and you're not sure where they are, but they must be somewhere near the road in the next day or two, and that there's quite a few of them, and they're all stirred up about something. So that's all you can hear.
I have a quick question.
And you, of course, as players, don't know that.
The awareness roll.
Yeah.
Is that for specific senses?
Typically, an awareness roll is something that the GM or the lore master would ask you to do in certain circumstances, like when you are doing a watch during the night. I'll ask you to do an awareness roll. If you are looking for something, typically you will use the search roll for something specific, or if it's general, you'll use the explore roll or hunting, as in the example of the ranger.
Okay.
So if you're just like uneasy and you say, okay, I look to the side, do I see anything? That's what you would do. You would pose it to me like that, and then I would say, okay, are you looking for something specific or just in general? And then I would have you make a roll based on that. So,
Well, what about the hearing?
are you keen at hearing or keen-eyed? If anybody's keen-eyed or keen at hearing, that's also just remember you can invoke some of your traits that you may have. If you're a suspicious person, for example, or
I
if
was
you're
distracted by coffee, but I'm.
that's also a trait. I have that trait.
I
as well.
am keen-eyed, but I would think that in this moment, like being keen-eyed doesn't really affect the fog. Am I wrong?
No, you're right. It will not help you. But if the fog clears, you should consider saying, okay, I look carefully. Do I see anything? Well, that's a really good trait to have, actually, Corey, as a lookout. So,
Right.
okay.
Friends, I don't hear any beasts upon the road, but there certainly seems to be a very large group of birds that are extremely agitated a ways away from us. We should proceed cautiously. The birds of Dunland do not tend to stir themselves unless there is dire need.
So, what did the rest of you think about the Rangers'
How far?
observation?
I'm sorry, my friend, I cannot say. A ways away, but not.
Should maybe one or two of us scout ahead then? A few miles perhaps?
Certainly before we make camp, but I don't know if it's late enough in the afternoon for us to be worried about that yet.
What time of day is it?
It's about 4 p.m. So, camp will need to be in the next few hours, but it depends on whether the fog lifts or not.
Well, and it's going on beginning of autumn, so it's going to start getting dark closer to 8 and 10.
Oh yeah, it'll be more like at this point it's September, so we're talking probably 6:30 at this elevator at this latitude. The fog is now completely surrounded. You can see each other just barely, but it's a very thick fog. So if anybody's
I'm gonna start gathering some wood.
Okay.
Just so we
so
can
you're gonna go look for wood.
while she was doing her thing, I think.
Okay, so you went to look for wood. Okay, I want you to, let's see, I'm going to ask you to make a roll.
Search.
And no, actually, I'm going to see whether or not you get lost.
Please don't get lost. Well,
So-
I'm adventurous.
Let's try.
Also slightly inebriated. Not yet.
I am very, very hearty.
Okay, why don't you go ahead and try, let's try explore or hunting to whichever you're better at. To make sure you don't lose your way.
That didn't go well.
11, 17, great success.
Yep. Okay. You managed to find some wood off the side. There's a few isolated trees that you notice nearby, and there's some dead wood. Yeah, exactly. And you can still see just barely the shadowy forms of your companions in the mist as they're kind of stopped and thinking about what they're going to do. Guy, you Go ahead.
There you go.
Well, before you tell me your next action, I just need to say, so you will need to make a test to avoid leading the group off the road because the fog is getting so thick that in order to keep them even on the road, because at this point it's not a paved road.
Wait a minute, I'm a little confused on timing here. Is he back with the group after he got the wood already now at this point?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And remember, you have an oil.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Most-
They're going to.
Most butchers.
So what check do I? Do
Yeah.
you want to do
So
that check?
it's a just 1 second. It's a
I
perception.
propose because it's getting too thick for us to see each other.
Yeah, I'm thinking I'm going to move
I
closer.
think we should tie each other together.
We've got rope.
A little bit so we can get each other.
Yeah, we got some rope.
Just 1 second, Austin. I'll give that to you. Go ahead and keep
I would
talking.
qualify that to the animals together, not the people themselves.
I should have gone with you.
Mobility is important.
I should have gone with you when you went to get the stuff. Just so
That's
that
right.
we wouldn't have both.
Buddy system.
Yeah, buddy
I'm
system.
going to wrap the wood to try and make sure it stays dry.
Oh, come on.
Very fun.
Oh, it should be here.
What needs to stay dry?
The wood.
Oh.
So it's soaked with,
1 moment, people. Sorry about this.
Do we usually do watch shifts in 2s or 3s per evening?
It's usually 2s,
2s.
depending on the size of the company.
Well, no, I meant 1 shift or 2 shifts or 3 shifts.
Oh, yeah.
Because
or
I'll
4.
3 shifts.
Okay,
3 or
because we've
4.
got it. Okay. We
With,
did.
with there being 5 of you, probably you'll want to do 3 shifts, and then 1 person could maybe double up.
One from the early shift can be with the last
Yeah,
shift.
last shift.
Pop can sleep extra long.
And we'll,
The luxury of travel is above it.
yeah, because I was going to recommend,
Someone on the first shift and the last shift.
I will rotate because we don't have even pairs.
Well,
So if
I
we're doing
recommend-
3 shifts of watch, we should make sure we have 2 people for each.
I recommend 4 shifts personally. That way, everyone gets at least 6 hours.
Sleep.
2 hour shifts.
That sounds good. But I did kind of.
Yeah, if you can come up with kind of what you will do when it's nighttime, that'll be great.
Especially
Well,
since it's a longer evening. Since it's getting dark by like 6,
basically,
7.
it's dark by 7:30.
So
It's definitely
make
really
dark
dark.
at 7.
At the latest.
Before then.
Mhm. And if you find a good place to camp before like 6-ish, stop them rather than push
So
them.
we get 4 shifts.
Well, when does the sun
At
come
8
up?
hours.
When does the sun come up? That'd be what? 8. So 8.
7 or 8. It's still early in the winter season, so we
My
have
hair
to
is
it's not
early
gonna be
riser.
at the
I don't know
later
about
we
that.
get.
Yeah, it's gonna get worse and worse. Yeah.
What is this early rising thing?
Okay, so Austin,
Yes.
it's
Probably
not
not really
nighttime
for
yet.
breakfast.
Did you guys decide to tie your mounts to each other, or what are you doing?
Yeah, we're going to tie the balls, I think.
Yeah.
Okay, almost just so loosely tied but connected.
Yeah.
Okay,
More of a loop than an actual knot.
and this is kind of single file now, kind of like with you at the front.
Yeah.
Probably
Okay.
a good idea.
So it doesn't matter so much what order you're in right now to me, but that's good to know that you're connected there. So you will not lose each other. However, the guide will need to make an orientation test. To do this, you will need to roll a feat die plus a number of success dice equal to your explore skill, and to basically to test whether or not you're able to keep your bearings and keep yourselves on the road, because the fog is so thick that now you can only see basically the horse you're on, and the people, the horse in front of you, horse behind you, or well, the horse behind you, you can barely even see them. So the ground it's hard. It's really hard.
So does
I'm
he
gonna
have to
make a sorry.
I think actually Austin is.
I'm gonna make a basic assumption that this is the feed guide, and these are.
Yeah, that's the feat guide. Sorry about that. Yeah, and the Eye of Sauron is the bad result, and the Gandalf rune is an automatic success.
Okay.
Isn't Sauron and I automatic failure?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we can do 3, 4 hour ones.
Nice.
Or
Yeah,
3 hour ones.
it's nowhere near.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
And I'm
We've
not
got about 12
sure.
hours of darkness.
Let's see, that beat explorer is what What body?
It's 5.
Yeah, so that won't even hit you.
Yeah.
So.
Ow.
Okay, so at least it wasn't catastrophic, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so what happens is though your guide is trying as hard as possible, but your skills are tested to the utmost because of this terrible fog that's coming in the autumn. And so now that this fog has surrounded you, what you find is that after another hour and a half, as it's starting to get a little darker now, your guide's basically having to admit, guys, we've actually left the road, and I'm not sure where we are. We're basically still traveling essentially south, but I'll show you where you are. But you no longer. That's where you left the road. You no longer know where you were at, but you traveled about an hour and a half away from the road.
We'll have a better chance in the morning. That's the only thing we could do.
See if this one throws off the fog.
Okay, so you're gonna make camp. Are you going to try to look for a quote, ideal place, or just like stay put where you're at?
As long as it's semi-level and dry, we might be okay. We're just going to get ourselves more lost trying to find landmarks when we can't see anything.
Well, if we do go looking, we should at least try to pair up a little bit.
Well, I think we shouldn't go any further than like all of our roads tied together.
It's dry here. It's fairly level. So
I think how much road we each have 50 feet.
Yeah.
I've got 20.
Got 20. So
I've got 100.
I've got 50, 100, 150, 200, 250,
270.
270. So we can do a 270-foot perimeter walk around, just one or two people at the end of the rope and the rest in the center.
So explain to me. So okay, just talk to me through how you're going to make camp. What does that look like?
It's just to see if there's anything within 270 feet that would be a better camp.
Gotcha. So you're tying all your ropes together,
Right.
and then
Pivoting from the
pivoting
center.
around from the center. Do a sweep.
Radius.
Yeah, you notice that there's actually a little bit of a kind of a hollow space that's perhaps a little bit less obvious. Although, really, who could find you in this fog? Who could find you in this fog? Anyway, there's a copse of trees, a small number of trees. They kind of give you a little bit of a shelter in case it does rain. And so yeah, it seems like maybe a better spot, and it's within about 200 feet away from the center where you were.
And then after that, when we're setting up camp, I'm actually going to mark a line all the way around the camp.
Okay. So does your fellow lookout help in that regard?
Yeah, I'm going to follow you.
Yeah, you guys going to work on that?
Yeah.
Okay, anybody have fire making? Otherwise, you're going to have to roll craft to make fire. Because you've got wood now, but
I mean, I can start a fire.
but you're working on the perimeter thing, so it makes sense to division of labor. If anybody wants to, Ranger, did you want to?
I only have 2 for craft.
I have 2 for craft.
I'm smoking.
I'm stuck in that regard too.
Okay, well, I'm the only one that's got a
So
high
if
enough
he's doing a
craft.
perimeter, you want to do. What's your ranks?
I'm
of craft?
reticent to do it, but I will because it'll help get the
How many rings do you
fire.
have? Yeah,
Just a teeny tiny little fire in a little hollow.
Take
Not
the
one that's
chill out
large
of the night.
that's going to attract attention from all the way across
You
the
mean
planet.
you don't want me to use my
No white
lighter
man fire.
fluid?
No white man fire.
So what do I got to roll for that?
Okay, roll your feet die, which is the 12-sided one, and then 4 of the 6-sided ones as well. Go ahead.
Because that was
You're supposed to roll them at the same time.
well, kind of, but still.
Okay.
Oh
Okay.
dear.
So you take the wood that was gathered, and you're trying, to your flint is steel.
Yeah, but I hit a 9.
Oh.
Basically, when you get an iron star, it means you
Right.
you
I didn't
succeed
see that.
really well. You
Yeah.
succeed. I mean, you failed really well. Is what I meant to say. You failed really well. Yeah. So essentially,
Cancel out.
no, it doesn't. No. But what happens is,
You fail spectacularly.
well, here's the thing. So you're trying to make the fire with the wood, and you actually burn yourself while you're trying to do it, but you don't light the wood on fire. So that's amazing how you're able to do that.
Thanks.
You lose 1 point of endurance. So just right in the middle center, Derek is right 28. Okay, well,
You can go on the third.
it's hard
Do
to.
you want me to try that again?
Where's the fire?
You want me to try that
You
again?
want to swap places and he can work on the perimeter thing?
Okay, I think, do you have
He's
more
got
right
traffic.
there? Okay.
Yeah,
You want me
try
You're
it.
gonna try it?
Yeah.
If you pull it off, I'll be laughing.
Let's see, 14, 19.
Yeah, the target 12 this time because it's dry wood, and so just because you know he got you started, it was smoldering but not quite making it.
It was well built.
It was well built. That's right. You built it well, and he was able to get it going. All right, so you've got a nice small fire, warm enough, big enough to keep you warm, but small enough not to attract undue attention. All right, you guys are able to what do you call it? I'm sorry, just blinked my mind. You stake out your horses and tie them to a tree, whatever. And
Do we want to take the rope and make sure the horses are connected together so that they don't just run off?
We'll just tie the reins or something.
Yeah.
They're safe.
they're able to basically
I
stake.
don't understand how.
So yeah, you just tie. You've got like a lead or something on the horse. You tie
Put it
it,
to the ground.
and then they're able to eat the grass around that.
Oh, okay.
And I'm gonna unsaddle it on
That's
Agreed.
a very wise idea.
Yep.
All right. So you take care of your horses. You cook a little bit of food over the fire with some of the stuff that was sent along. Tea, yes.
Can I
Comforts.
recall
Heavily
a,
caffeinated for the
old
later
tale.
watch people.
can I
Not
recall an
caffeinated for
old
the
song of the trance? I have a 5 in lore and I'm a specialist in old lore.
Go for it.
Well,
Nothing better to
he's
do when
doing
you're stuck in
that,
the
I'll take
fog.
out my pipe.
That's a great idea.
Yes. I'll
Is
smoke
smoking one of
pocket.
your traits? One of your
Uh,
traits?
No, it's just
Smoking's one of
yes,
my
it is.
traits.
Herb lore smoking.
Yeah,
folklore.
yeah. You pack your pipe well, and you're able to relax by the fire. Yes.
19 to try and recall it.
Yeah. Okay. Yes, you do. So yeah, you basically succeed. Go ahead and describe what you do.
I'm gonna sing a song.
Pocket full of rye.
You have a song?
Roll
Yeah, that was
to remember lore.
Right.
Okay, now you're
And
going
I'm
to
gonna
sing a song
try
about
and
this.
sing a song.
You have a song?
Yeah,
Yeah, yes.
Oh, okay.
not the best singer, but not the worst. 10, 15, 20, 23
Sure.
great success.
Absolutely. Yeah, you not only recall from the old lore what you know about the ants, but you are able to sing and make sure you check the box there for your success. Sing to the company about the ants and maybe something you've even put together. Is this a song that you recall from the past, or is this one?
This is when I, before the war, I was studying to become a scholar, but then I found great success on the battlefield and abandoned the college. But I was very fascinated by the old lore, and
Right,
I got
you
to
still
know
have
our
that.
lore and read some of the ancient texts that
Absolutely.
are there.
Great. Well, that makes sense why you'd be on this quest then, because both skills would be useful for that. Okay, guys. That night passes uneventfully. You don't need to set watches at this point. Sometimes I will, and when I do, that doesn't mean that you're going to get attacked during the night. It just means for the sake of travel compression, we're going to skip the
If we were going to have watches, we should just establish them now. We have
that's fine. Yeah,
4
go ahead.
watches.
Did
I'll
you?
take first watch.
So let me get that down. So Poppy, first watch.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm going to be more in the mid watch, like the third one. The third one.
Can I do second?
I'll do last watch.
I guess I can sleep.
Okay.
Well, and we should honestly we should do 2 and 2, all the way across. I don't know if we want to.
Well, why don't we can do.
Depends on the land in which you are. If you
That's
feel
true.
safer, you could do one. But if you're like not sure, guys, maybe
I'll
you should
be
go
up
one.
by the
last.
watch.
Okay, so-
Be to work, but even if once I get 8 hours of sleep, I'll just be up after like an hour.
Okay, so Poppy's first watch, Fareth is last watch with lift stand up at that point. Who's doing second and third watch?
I'm third.
You're third and you're second. Okay, so
And if it does take doubling, I could probably stay up an extra few hours or whatever
Well, and we can
overlap.
rotate so that no one person is the one who has to
If
go
you don't
without
get
sleep.
6 hours of sleep, you're gonna
Unless we
be
have a race.
you're gonna be
that-
tired the next day.
No,
So
we're all humans except for that one.
yeah, 6 hours is going to be necessary one way or the other. Okay, so I've got
And the
your.
Hobbit needs at least 12 hours of sleep.
It depends on how many orcs she's killed that day before. All right, so you guys all you go through your watches of the night. Definitely not as comfortable as back at Bree, but you are adventurers who have traveled and slept outside a lot before, and so it's no big deal.
I live outside.
It's soaking my book, though.
Well, the fog is
Right.
annoying. It is annoying, and it's a little bit damp. So you kind of
We're just a smidge chill.
A
Yeah.
little smidge chill.
Keep any firewood that we still have wrapped.
Okay.
Oil skins in
All
your
right. The next morning, you wake up and the fog is gone. It's just a few tendrils of fog here and there. So it's to the east, which is of course towards the mountains. You can see there's more fog over there, but in every other direction it's clear. Guide. We'll explore to find the road again. Now it's going to be a lot easier.
Yeah. 24.
Okay, yeah, so that's fine, and you have a great success there. Make sure you check mark that you succeeded at score. All right, your guide is able to find the road again and lead you back onto it. But
Since we're a little ways off the road, can I take the opportunity to do a hunting roll?
Yeah,
Since
sure.
we're always away from the travel.
while
area.
that's going on, since there's no fog, you go ahead and make a hunting roll, see if you can find anything in the game. And assuming, unless you tell me otherwise, that all your rope is still tied together.
I think we don't
I
need
think
270
we'll
feet.
put our
Yeah,
ropes
before we
back.
leave,
I
yes,
think
yes. Before we leave
It's
camp,
yours.
I would like my
It takes a
ropes
lot
back
of
where I'm
time to put together.
So we're all one. Hopefully the knots aren't too bad. Okay, so you untie the ropes, and all you have your ropes coiled back.
22, 23.
That's a nice.
Right.
That's,
24.
Yeah, it's
29
very
with 2 sixes.
Oh wow! Extraordinary success. All right,
She killed a bear.
you tell me. No, let's let her role play her what she succeeded at. You tell us what you found when you're hunting, what you succeeded in bringing back, keeping in mind whatever it is you need to be able to transport it. So
Right.
it's all you.
It
But it was an extraordinary success.
was an
So
extraordinary
feel free to
success.
wax eloquent about how you killed it if you want to.
So I was scouting around the outsides of the camp and I found a small game trail. Following it along towards the mountains, I came across a small buck and was able to fell it. Recovered my arrow with no damage, managed to drag it back to camp. Since we are in a small copse of trees, I strung it up by its heels, quickly skinned it, and started to butcher it. I'm going to distribute the meat among the various horses, and when we stop for the evening, we can smoke it and prepare it so that it will last longer. As a ranger of the north, I literally lived off the land my entire life,
Yeah, so
and so I'd be
enough
well
leather.
versed in
Yeah.
all of the above and
Sure.
how to prepare or
So they're all
preserve it
wrapped
so that
up
it's-
and portioned out, and you guys are all just amazed at the hunting skills of the ranger.
As long as you keep the flies off, it can sit at room temperature for a while. Typically, you do leave a buck hanging for a couple of days before you butcher.
So we're okay there.
We're okay for a while.
Well, that's great, and again, it's nice to know that if your food ran out, you're going to have eventually some more food laid up for the future. So yeah, venison on the dinner plate, courtesy of Ferret the Ranger. Okay, so all this has gone on. It's about noon on the next day. This is day 6 since Bree. You are now about there on your trip. Okay, you've regained the road, and you've now got more meat, and you're back on the road. You're feeling more relieved, and again, this is more familiar territory. Okay, just if we could take a 2-minute break, I just need to get a resource, and then we'll be able to take the next section.
I need to get a cup of coffee.
Again, just a short one.
Yes, I getting a cup of coffee will
That
not
will
take
not take
long.
long.
It's very, it should have, I thought it was funny to start singing that. I should have probably broke out into the song as well. That would have been pretty funny. That would have been pretty funny though, like.
When you started singing, I
Rousing
was
like.
putting a pot of coffee on.
Huh?
When you started singing, I should have my character joined it.
I was thinking like this time instead of singing right.
We have a moment.
But I'm more of a poet than all my other characters.
Yeah,
So I was
I'm
thinking,
So,
yeah, so I was thinking like a rousing, crazy song.
Let me get that for you.
Okay.
I was doing me.
Yeah.
That and old stories. Not the characters.
You're like the Luther.
I can find it
Canada.
from there so you can grab your.
Yeah, absolutely. It'll be in the Rohan
No, I'm a warrior.
description of
Crap,
that.
If you notice, I have 4 weapons,
bet.
most of which I'm quite well versed in. And I'm fairly outdoorsy and about as witty as a rock.
How in the world did you get? Is this an old character?
I have no idea.
Oh, I'm just amazed that you have 4 in so many different areas. I don't have 3 in most of mine, except for stealth.
Saturday he's not a witty. Advanced character.
I always forget. What does insight include?
Insight is typically to know whether a person is telling you the truth,
Oh,
or to gain insight into a particular situation. It's kind of more like wisdom.
okay. Wisdom.
There's a couple of different drinks in the fridge out there.
Right.
Yeah, trying to find something quick. Go ahead.
I've got the song.
No, you're fine. I was
Oh, good.
in your way and you were
Oh, absolutely. I have no doubt. Yeah, like I said, I think as long as you
Was the funnest thing.
the Ant-Life part, you
I
feel
was so hard
you
because
happy on that?
I got to know that it's a giant troll by
I
myself.
babbled about it for weeks.
Trolls
And my
funny,
coworkers
you
made the mistake of asking me what I was doing this weekend, and so got to listen to Tolkien babble for like 4 days.
What I did was they had a hole where you could
Oh,
jump.
you're fine.
Well, you remember this. There's a troll. There's
We
a
put
troll,
them
and you
between
could.
two drop gates.
I was gonna use a giant spear like a pogo stick on this troll, but I decided that was a little bit too dangerous, and I decided to climb down a rope instead.
I loved our
Boy.
ninja move into the stronghold in Mordor, where we're like going along the creek bed. And
I don't remember the adventures well. I wrote it.
All I remember is we had a fun time fighting that giant spider.
Yeah.
Yeah, that wiped you guys out.
Yeah.
You guys had to avoid all the rest of the fighting after
Yeah.
that spider had spiders.
Like
I
the
think we
first
killed
three
maybe
spiders.
4 orcs the entire day. Like we avoided
No, we
everything.
ran the first
They
3
killed-
spiders annihilated our
Well,
party. Like we couldn't do
They
anything.
took
else.
out about half of you. They didn't kill anyone quite.
They didn't kill anyone, but we had no
Spiders
urge
do,
to
they
do
would
it.
get in a little crevice, and so they just hid in the crevice and shot it after a while, but some of them had fallen off of the cliff.
Oh, yeah.
Cave. It wasn't good. My experience with the troll was we killed it, and I was playing a master craftsman dwarf. I had like
You
a
made a
5 or
fireplace.
6. No. So I made a sauna out of the troll. After
Oh, that's
turning
right.
stone. It was a sauna, fireplace,
Good job.
camp space.
So I'll let you know.
That's
It's
amazing.
okay.
Well, I really
Yeah.
wanted to do the pogo
Well,
stick
and
to
we
death,
can also
but I knew
sense
how
how
much
much
damage that would take.
as well. So
Probably if I landed wrong. And I knew how much.
ready.
You know,
yeah, I'll get there.
I was amazed because Brian said we were like a Navy SEAL team because of
Yes.
her. Because of her, she was like,
I'm like, we are going into Mordor. You are watching those horses. We are keeping water on the horse and with us.
seriously, it was amazing that we survived the way we did.
My party nearly died of dehydration more than once.
Boom.
We were very paranoid about our water sources, and we took enough in that we did not get any
They
in
didn't
Mordor.
think to bring us water.
We definitely did.
They found supply caches occasionally, and that could save their lives.
I'm serious. I don't know how you guys would have snuck into the
I'm
deal.
going to need to
if
see
we
that book
didn't have
in a moment, just to check Dunlin for a second, if I can. Austin.
Yeah, give me just a moment.
No worries. You know what? I wonder if that's in Adventurers as well. Did you look?
I checked that.
No.
Yeah, which
Well, no. I meant his. So
I already checked that.
Oh, no, he's a
Yeah.
It's just
Okay.
We found some interesting caves in Mordor to hide on the way back.
They found a cave
Hiding
that
was
they got
good.
crap beat
Hiding
down
was
with fighting.
Oh, here it is. Unlandings 5.
They found a cave with like 13 orcs in it.
Oh,
I think that was Poppy's
Can I
fault. She
swap
found
the
like
thing?
the best possible hiding spot in the entire area.
we
Poppy is a
seriously.
lucky hobbit.
We were very lucky at very important time rolls. There was a couple of
I
times.
die a lot.
Yeah, but you guys were so methodical about it that, like, our methodical nature and our lucky rolls, it's no wonder we survived because nobody else probably had it
Well,
as
and
easy as us.
Who was
The other
playing
guys
the?
were
I think it was the elf.
combined with that.
Okay.
But he kept trying to run off and kill orcs, and we're like, we will leave you here. Stick with the party, obey the party.
Oh, Richard, he doesn't want it.
No, he wanted to go kill orcs. We're like,
He was-
Anyways.
He's not here there.
We are streaming live. Just please keep that in mind. All right. Just looking for a particular photograph, and first one I want to find it.
I kind of wish I had gotten fire igniting or whatever, because I would be like the only one that would put that skill.
we've got a couple people with good craft though. We won't go full.
We just give us time to be able to start amazing fires or build fantastic cathedral-esque fireplaces.
No, not this time. As long as we can get good smoking fire to keep it pretty good, we're gonna be good.
I've always wondered what elf ants think of fires. Like,
They're not a fan.
They're not a fan.
well, no, I mean they're not a fan, but I mean like, would they put up with a human that like used a dead tree to?
If we're not hacking the limbs off, I think we're usually.
I'm really glad you brought that up. We're making turkey so we don't have to have fires in Thanks.
All right, so we're back. We're back on. Back to play now. Thank you for you pulled South Road. Thank you for taking a break for a moment just to let me check some things. All right, so as I said, you're back on the road and you're trying to make up for lost time. When let's see, who's keen-eyed among you?
Me.
Both of you. All right. So the lookout first because of your posture, and then also your scouts. You're always kind of keeping an eye on things anyway. You notice far off ahead, it looks like a small dark cloud. And what do you do with that information? This is to the south.
Is this an awareness roll?
No, it's not. No, it's just something that you look carefully, so you can see. So this is kind of something you kind of mull over. You want to share it with the company at this point?
I'm willing to share it with the company. I like to keep an eye out for any unusual. So there's a dark cloud off. What would you say? To the left. To the left of the road, kind of.
It'd be kind of
Straight down. Like here.
Yeah, left of the road. So that if you guys look, I can see a dark cloud, and it doesn't seem to be moving against the wind. Can I tell that? Or
yeah, you can tell that. You want to invoke your trait?
I do.
Okay, when he directs you to where to look, you look closely, and you can see that it looks like it's moving toward the company, whatever it is. And it seems to be not moving like a cloud that would have rain. It's different.
So I'm also looking at it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So do I eventually notice that as it's getting hit?
Could I use insight? Maybe I'm wrong. No, insight doesn't work
This-
that way. Is there a way
Insight's a
to?
good guess, but I would say lore here would probably be more appropriate.
Is there a way? I guess what I'm trying to say is this is out of character. Obviously,
How to interpret.
is there a way to interpret that might be a set of crows?
I did let everybody know last night that there are birds.
Yeah.
Lots of birds.
You heard that, and so it's possible. Your insight would tell you it's likely. You don't have to roll for that. But until it gets closer, you can't tell for sure. But you could start to think, how would I prepare for that if you want?
Well, maybe I would make note to the group that we heard about birds last night, and it's strange that this cloud is moving towards us.
You said they were upset, yes?
But then I don't know that the birds of Dunland are ever in a very amiable mood.
Dunleavy, what do you say we do? If that is indeed Dunleavy birds.
You would know.
Yeah.
You would, just so you know, you would know that the Kirgine are not, they're not really tameable to know things, but you knew that from the past that Saruman was able to gather them kind of and use them under his magic power. However, that's not an art that any of your folk possess, and they can be your friend or your foe, depending. Go ahead.
I don't think it should matter too much. They're not tameable. If they're a bird, I have in mind. And we won't really know until we get close to them if they're harmless or intend anything.
It's a risk that they'll attack us or oppose us.
Would that be an insight?
Yeah. Yeah. Go ahead and roll an insight on that. Plus your feedback. That's enough. You have a sense that, generally speaking, if you're on the road and you see a cloud or a murder of crows, it is what it's actually called. Oh,
It is.
boy. If you see a murder of crows coming kind of in your general direction, that it's usually ends up going for your people. Yeah. Unless they're ignoring you and looking for somebody else, which is always possible.
There's a possibility they're looking for someone else. Maybe other people we saw on the road, but it might be best to move out there.
Should we find cover, perhaps? There's
Probably
anything.
not what sort of ground cover. Like is there a cave?
No, not this close. You're not close enough to the highlands yet.
Do you think if we found basically a small impression in the land, if we could string our bedrolls and clothes and stuff over ourselves to basically, as kind of like a canvas to attack authority?
It's a fine idea. I say you suggest it to the group and decide whether or not that's what they want to do. But you notice that the cloud is about halfway closer to you than it was before.
It's moving very quickly. I would also suggest we move the other way while we discuss.
Yeah.
Agreed. If you offer that suggestion, if you can find such a depression in the earth, I second the thought. I'm not very handy crafting myself, but
It's quite simple. I suggest we ride and look for a depression then.
Okay.
I boot my horse and
So you ride, you turn, and you ride north and looking for a depression anywhere close by. They have doubled that distance again. Now they are a fourth of the way to you.
I think we're riding.
We're riding away from them, or you're riding towards them?
We're riding away from them.
Away from them, so to the north.
Yeah.
Yeah, back on up the road. Okay, so you do have a chance to look for a place. So that's going to be search. You're going to be searching specifically for a place.
I can do that.
Can I use teleport in this situation? I don't really need it, but 17 is a great success.
Let's see what everybody else rolls.
Oh,
If you want to, you don't have to. But many eyes is good.
we would all actively be searching. Yeah.
Yeah, search. If you have any.
Me? Yeah, good fun.
Okay, so if any of you made ooh 16,
16.
17.
then you succeed, and you can tick the box to show that you did.
12, 17.
But so here's the thing. So anybody have a great success? Whose car is that?
I don't know how to count. Is that a great success? Isn't it?
What is
There's
the
one great success.
It won't be mine because
There's two
it's
sixes.
Mine doesn't have one of
Yeah,
those.
it's different.
Okay.
Great success. It's good. Good enough. Good enough.
yeah, that's enough to get a tick mark on the same row as search. So find the row that you're on.
So,
Yeah, anyway, so you do see kind of a little bit of a depression that you might be able to scramble towards. And it's just in the nick of time because literally, just as you find this, the crows, from those of you who see, you two especially, they're about a minute away, and they're coming fast, and they're definitely coming in your direction. They're looking for you.
I will spend a hope point and use my art of disappearing.
Okay,
Nice.
you erase your hope point there, and you succeed. Okay.
what does craft do again?
Craft is when you have to make something. At this point, putting blankets over you, you wouldn't have to roll for. Basically, what's happened is that you guys have found a location, right?
Call out.
Yeah, there it is, let's go!
There.
You're getting off the
Right.
horses, you're grabbing bedrolls, but they now are 1 minute away from you, and they are closing fast.
Okay, I'm gonna throw my winter cloak over the horse, covered as best I can, and
Yeah,
help my
protecting
shield.
your horses.
Protecting the horse. Keep a firm grip on the bridle.
And if I can, I'm gonna light one of my oil torches.
You're going to try it. It's going to be a craft roll. It's going to be, you're not going to have much time. The horses are, so are the horses your first priority?
My horse is my first priority.
Making
If
sure
you need
you're-
both hands, I can grab yours too.
No, I'm throw the cloak, have my shield
Okay.
basically planted leaning against the horse.
I don't know.
Okay, if you want, I can grab hold of his bridle so that he's not
I
going to
basically
run.
have it just
You
wrapped
hear
over.
the harsh croaking of about 1,000 crows. Well, I exaggerate. 500. But about 500 crows, and they're all starting to dive bomb in your direction.
I saw one on my torch lighting.
Yeah. Okay. Prepare for battle. You're gonna be able. You can try ranged attacks at this point. They're within range. So those of you who have a bow and want to use it can try. You're gonna have to just aim at one bird because that's all you can take out at a time. Those of you who are better at your at melee weapons will want to stand ready with those and try to swing if you want to, unless you're hiding. If you choose to hide, that's up to you. And so the crows will have, the Curdine will have initiative. So they're going to come at you, and you can respond.
If I can, assuming nothing's gone too awry with my family to light my torch horribly, I'm going to try to draw my sword and use my shield to take a defensive stance.
Yes, you can. Everybody roll battle. If you gain any successes, let me know if you succeed, and we're going to go on target. Sorry. Okay. Look for battle. You're
Second
always
column, bottom row.
okay. Battle. So you're going to take 2 6-sided dice plus your feat die, and you're rolling to get a target of 14. And I want you to tell me whether you get success, great success, or extraordinary.
17 is great success.
Okay, so here's what you do. If you succeed, you get +1 battle die. This is like bonus dice. Remember we did this last year. So bonus dice. If you just succeed, you meet 14. You get +1 to use at any point in the fighting. If you get a 6, that means you get a great success. That means you get 2 extra dice to roll to add to. And if you get, well, you'll have to add it up yourself.
Well, it's I would say 12, but
So if you spend a hope point, you can get 14.
okay, then I'll do that.
Okay, spend a hope point, and then what you get to do is that you've got a 6 in there, so that means you get 2 bonus dice. Okay, did
I
everybody?
got 13 and Gandalf for me.
Well, that means you get one. Yes, you succeed automatically, so you get +1 bonus die.
2 bonus dice, so I have to roll these.
Just one bonus
You're
die for me.
saying 2 bonus
Did you
dice?
roll them or not? Okay, when you hold it up, I assume that that's the result that you get. So you roll all 3 at the Same time, right?
I rolled these 3.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So then you don't need to roll anything else.
Oh, okay. I thought
No,
you
no,
said
no.
that.
So what bonus dice are, Corey, is you're going to write that on the side of your sheet.
Oh, okay.
And you're going to just remember that if you're rolling and you're trying to attack one of the crows and you fail your roll, you can use one of these extra die to kind of add to it and say, okay, this will put me over.
And it's a one-time use,
Yep.
and you can do it after you've failed your roll.
Yep.
Perfect.
All right. Here they come. Ranged weapons, you do have the opportunity to get off a shot first.
Okay.
So who's shooting with bow? All right.
I'm using my
I'll
bow
shoot
of
with
the
the bow.
North Downs.
Yep.
When making a ranged attack, add to your rolls a bonus of +3, or your valor, whichever is higher.
Okay.
My valor is 5.
Okay, Hobbit takes first shot. Actually, everybody's got a bow. Go ahead and roll your bow shot, and then tell me what your number is.
And 4 dice, right?
They're using silver steel.
Sword.
And you?
Rolling half the dice.
Great bow. 4 die.
So what's your total?
16 with great success.
Okay.
With my extra bonus, 23 with great success.
Wow.
15.
Okay. All right. So,
Double 6.
oh, 2 6s. Yeah, that you need to let me know that. Okay, great. So all 3 of you are able to skewer a cribine crow with your arrow, and they drop to the ground. The other cribine don't seem to care, and they're coming towards you now.
When I step into my stance, can I use a whole point to try and shift the crows to target me?
Yeah.
So the archers or
You can definitely put yourself in front of the kind of the archers so as to attract attention. You want to attempt awe at the same time or not?
absolutely.
You don't have to, but
No, I'm absolutely happy to do that. That's a perfect thing.
Yeah.
Keep track of your arrows.
Sure.
Okay.
26 with great success.
Okay.
400 and
Yeah, make sure you
97
note your
crows.
success on that one. Okay, you're
all the crows.
okay. So you guys got off those initial volleys and dropped a bunch of crows, and then they're coming towards you when the barding liftstand steps in front with his sword and shield. Is it a great shield?
Yes, it is.
And he's making a great impression. And so they all come towards him first, and then kind of towards the rest of you, and they just scream on by. And several of them smack up against your great shield. You are able to take out 2 with your sword and drop a few at your feet. You're pretty protected. You are go ahead and attack with your sword. And the 3 of you, you each get raked with talons for -1 endurance point. You and you, all 3 of the archers.
If I actually spend a whole point, I can shift the target of the crows doing.
Not that much. There's too many. You definitely diverted a lot of them, though. It would have been worse.
I have 25 with the great.
Oh my goodness, yeah. So again, you're able to parallel what he's doing and with great valor. You know, your axe and you're cleaving through a few crows that drive dead at your feet. Not only do you kill 2, but like the party, protecting yourself from getting hit because you're a formidable target. Unfortunately, by being in rearward stance, all those who were shooting with their bow didn't have time to take out into the weapons, so that's why they got hit. So each of you lost 1 endurance point. You 2 did not. And you see the crowd, the flock, has gone back up into the sky, giving you a breathing moment, and they're wheeling around, and they're turning back. So this gives you time to just barely kind of take an action. What do you want to do?
Reposition and try and shield the 2 archers as best I can.
I'm going to stake the horses closest to me, 1 or maybe 2 if I can manage it, to the ground so that they can't bolt.
Okay. Who's got? Nobody has lore for this area, but you live here.
Yeah.
It occurs to you that you have heard that if enough numbers of crows fall, unless they're under the influence of, like, say, an evil wizard, they will eventually they will leave because it will start to impact them because they're very social that way.
Yeah.
Okay, they're coming again. Ranged attack. Are you going to try again? You three?
Yes.
On your bow, go ahead. Use your bow. How many rings you got? What's your feat die? Always roll the feat die and that'll be your result. Oh yeah, so that's a great success.
26.
26? Yeah. Okay.
I only got 14. Can I skewer 2 of them?
Yes, you may. And you've got a great success. Shish kebab crow.
Yes.
Alrighty.
I only got 14.
Okay, you take out one.
Cool.
All right. Here they come.
Melee? Okay.
Melee. You guys, if you want to try to you 3 archers, this time that you know what to expect, if you want to try to hunch down and parry or hide under a horse, you can.
Or under my shield.
I kind of want to throw my
I will
cloak
hide
over
under
the,
his shield.
the head
That's
of
easy.
the. Right. I want to cover my horse's head with the
Yeah.
cloak so that they can't get into their ears or eyes.
Yeah.
So do we are the crows specifically attacking us and not the horses at this point?
They're attacking the whole group.
They don't care. They want to do
They don't
something.
care. They're tearing everything.
The question I'm having is who's holding onto their horse?
I
Oh.
staked down 2.
Yeah.
Take my horse.
They're either being held or being or staked down. Yeah, they're covered. That was you had time for that beforehand.
Okay.
Okay, this time you're able to protect yourself just barely, and so did I give you guys a chance to roll?
No.
No, you go ahead and roll. It's a moving target, so it's going to be
43.
yeah, you made it.
22.
Yeah, both of you made it. No great successes, but so you're able to kill a crow on the way. Again, it's so hard to get, so many.
Just a little.
It's like trying to nail Jello to the wall. Okay. Although there's no Jello in Middle Earth, just want to make that clear. So they wheel past you. You survived relatively unscathed, and they're turning and they're wheeling back towards you again.
If we have a moment of breathing room, I do call to the rest of the party. Stake your horses if you can. Cover their eyes.
I'm going to switch to my shield to spear and move
Same.
to attack.
Okay. All right.
With to cover my shield.
Very good. Very good.
Oh wow. Thanks.
Okay. Yeah, you're trying to help each other out. Your pony is a little bit spooked, but at this point, is staying put.
Okay, I've got
If
2
it's-
of them.
If it's close enough to me, since I staked
Are
my
you
horse
staked?
last time, I can stake hers too.
Okay, so it's chomping
I-
the bed and
I snag the one that's the most agitated and I stake it to the ground and
nervous
cover its
screaming
head.
and so forth. But
Am I close enough to go calm it?
yes,
Okay.
you have enough time.
I will
I'm
go.
gonna keeping my shield between the
Okay.
archers.
Do you want to make another awe roll again?
I'm actually trying to inspire.
Okay.
Basically just
That's a great idea. All right, so Livstan the Barding seeks to inspire the party. What's your roll?
21.
Yep, that'll be enough. All right, so describe how you successfully inspired.
I just call because I'm a simple man. Hold fast, my friends.
Each
And
of
I
you
lift my shield.
feels a surge of resilience and confidence that you can defeat this adversary if you do not give up. Okay, ranged weapons, get ready. Here they come. It's target of 18 because it's a moving target.
You're 10 or 15.
Okay,
22 with a great success.
so you miss. You hit.
19 and Gandalf.
Yes. You get your bird on.
But I
Kill 2 birds with 1 stone? No, arrow. Anyway.
Okay.
All right. And melee weapons.
Oh, good. That was
That's a great success with normal success. Yeah.
And
23 with a great.
yeah, you both are able to drop actually a few crows with your snicker snack, vorpal blade. Anyway, so at this point, you notice that after they pass you this time, and actually the 3 of you who were ranged targets. Not the Hobbit, but you two. You did get hit this time, so
Okay.
take off 1 endurance point. And you notice that the crows, they're kind of a little bit more chaotic. They don't seem quite. Yeah, they're kind of pausing a little bit and regrouping and reforming, and then they fly off to the east towards the mountains. And you know that they generally don't try to fake people out when they leave. So you survive the attack of the murder of crows. Each of you can gain 3 experience points. So add 3 for a successful battle at the top. All right, guide. You finally can take your people on their way.
Okay.
So go ahead and just kind of role play that you're taking them along the road.
Before we leave, can we try to recover arrows?
I
Ask
say
if
we
you have time.
We should have time to recover arrows and everything. What time of day is it actually?
So yeah, this was day. I think they said it was day 6. So this is. It's still, I'd say, like late morning. You still have quite a bit of time.
Yeah, we have enough time to gather arrows and everything else.
I wonder if crows are edible.
Yes, I was actually going to ask, do I know if they're edible?
They're foul. They're not. They're not tasty.
I'm gonna check on all the horses, make sure they're not
Yeah.
blind or.
None of them, thankfully, have been disabled by the crows. This is a narrow escape, but your bravery encourages you off. You recover all but 1 of your arrows, so now you're at 19. Right. So you take the party on the South Road, and you make really good time, and actually, you get to the southern edge of the Misty Mountains. So after another day of traveling with thankfully no further attacks from the Cribine, you come to the point where the South Road goes through Rohan, and you turn north along the River Isen. As the players ride north up the Isen Valley, they come to the edge of what used to be the Ring of Isengard, earthworks that have now been flattened to make room for the circular tree garth. In place of the gate stand 2 tall trees, through which you see a green path that leads into a garden of woodland and orchard, and in the center, a lake. This is the famous watchwood that the Ents have created around the ancient tower of Orthanc. And you are on the edge of that at the very gate. You could call it the entrance.
Collect no wood, light no fires.
Should we make little wood carvings for them?
No.
I wanted to, I know we kind of don't like,
Might be a relative.
I know this is going to be out of time, but I wanted to roll for woeful foresight.
Yeah.
After our attack by the birds, I wanted to do that
Just,
immediately.
you can do it once per session.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Like until lunchtime. So
Okay.
it will.
If you do it now, it's your only chance.
Okay, let's do it now.
Well, you can do it after the encounter with the Ents if you want to. That might be a
Okay.
better time. But just remind me, we'll do that.
All right.
That might be good on your road.
Entered into their territory.
Okay, your party of heroes rides forward, led by your fearless guide. You're a little bit odd and intimidated by
He's
the
always
Ents.
a little bit odd.
I'm fascinated. I'm just like,
Yeah, each of you has different reactions of entering into this sanctuary of the Ents, and also remembering the stories of Orthanc and how the powerful wizard from this tower commanded a vast army of orcs that almost overwhelmed Rohan, and even your people were partly. They kind of Saruman had tried to whip up your anger and your bitterness against the Rohirrim and used that against you, really.
Yeah.
But you were so surprised, the stories from your uncles and aunts about how the Dunlendings who took part in that fight were actually pardoned by the Rohirrim, which they had heard stories of that if they were defeated, they'd actually be eaten, cannibalized. but these stories were completely fabricated. And you were treated by your enemies honorably and given a chance to lay down their arms, which they did. And so it's been a kind of a hesitant alliance, but it's grown stronger. And these Ents were part of that whole experience too. You're a little nervous because in that story you knew about these Huorns, these trees that they commanded that kind of formed a wood, and some of the Dunlendings died from it. So you're like, okay, it's a little creepy, but these are good.
Poppy would know about the Huorns too.
Yeah, that's right.
They had the forest around the Shire.
You find a grove of tall rowan trees with red berries with a tree missing on the south side. It's kind of odd to you. It's interesting. You walk through, and as you enter into this wide grove of trees, you see a slender Ent about 14 feet tall, with his arms reaching up to the sky. Okay, so it looks like a mountain ash tree, you know, the red berries. This is why the grove is kind of similar to him. And he sees you and welcomes you. Yes?
About the maps that you gave me, did you take them back, or?
No, you mean the ones that were on the, that? I brought it over to you, I thought. What are you missing?
Well, the maps of the routes and the stuff like that you gave me.
I gave those to you with the 3 clipped packets last night.
Oh, so they're in my clip packet.
They're in the clip packets. For session 1. Look at session 1 clip packet. Do you have it here?
I'm going to look to see if I can hear.
Okay.
Oh, not.
If you don't, let me know. I can help you out if you can't find it. Okay.
Home, I am Dragamar. That is quick beam in your language. Welcome to my grove. This grove is open to the south, you see, to show which direction peace is found. Of course, south for Minas Tirith and the rule of the king. He is a friend to us Ents, even hasty ones like me. I am supposed to bring visitors to Treebeard, and he does a slow facing art. I forgot. What are your names, adventurers? And he looks down at you.
Irish, sir.
A man of the north, I believe. And you are Dunlending, if I'm not mistaken.
Rawthorn.
Very welcome to meet you, yes. And, one of the small folk which we have put into our poem of the peoples.
I am a proud hobbit. I am Poppy Smallborough.
I think I have heard that name. Hail and well met. And another barding I see.
And what's that?
Well met, and a
Well
friend
met,
of mine.
Well met, Master Ent. I am Ferrith of the North.
And the Ent bows low to you all.
Let us go now quickly to meet my Master Treebeard. He is here at the Treegarth of Orthanc. Good for you if you want to meet him, because usually he's in Fangorn Forest in the fall. But he has stayed a little longer than he usually does. Come with me.
And at this point, he strides through the southern gap in the grove and then walks with you. From here, you found this grove here, and walks with you to the edge of the lake. As you walk along, you notice that there's apple and pear orchards dotting the landscape. So it's kind of like a ring of woods with orchards around this lake. And you see, standing in the lake, not far from the shore, a massive Ent, which resembles an elm tree, looking at the Tower of Orthanc in the middle, and just kind of very still, not moving at all. You would think it'd be just a dead tree in the water. Well, not dead, but just kind of there. Except you know it was tree root. And then at this point, Quick Beam coughs a little bit. And then he speaks in Entish. And
The sunset.
Treebeard.
We make camp. We have some
3 days later, he finishes turning around. Okay, so Treebeard turns around. He turns around to face you. Ooh. Ooh. Well, now. Alatulie Maneseliana. I should say in your language, welcome. What are you? And then Quick Beam kind of fills him in slowly. Monday Omantaina. Pleased to meet you. Ma ista quet eldare. And he sees that none of you seem to speak Quenya, except you've got Elven lore.
A little bit, yeah.
So you kind of, if you want to venture a few phrases in Quenya that you...
I wish I could think of something right off the top of my head.
But you can do that if you like. And he says, crack my timbers, a man who knows high Elven language in these days. Whom welcome. Why are you here?
Mary and Pippin has directed us here. Apparently you could use some help.
Yes. I remember my friends, although they're taller now than they used to be.
quite impressive height for hobbits, those two.
Yes,
Quite
my
impressive.
friends, I have not seen them for many a year. How are they?
Busy but well.
Prosperous both.
That's good to hear.
The gardens are most beautiful.
Oh,
And the
yes.
trees of the Shire
All the
great,
trees.
give great fruit.
I have heard there is a Malorn tree that was planted in the Shire from Lothlorien, from the Lady Galadriel. But I love the woods in your area, although it has been long since I walked there. I could sing a song of walking in the woods when all the trees from Herod Lindwin all the way to Fangorn were one vast forest, and we were only the east end. But I know that you are a hasty folk, and you probably came here for a different reason.
We've been instructed to ask and help in finding the Edgewise, if possible.
Root and twig. Did the hobbits Merry and Pippin say if they had looked in the Shire for Edgewise?
Yes, they have. They look to the north.
And did they find anything?
They did not.
Although their peoples do have legends of trees that walked among the forest, they found no indicators that any still lingered there.
I see. Hawk. Is he there? Okay.
We ran downstairs.
If he's around, okay. Yeah, just tell him that I'm ready for his, he's got a recording to play.
I am pleased by your quest.
And out of his beard, you can see the glimmers of a smile. But doubtful.
We looked so many times that I don't know if you will ever be able to find them at the same time. It is not for I to tell you whether your quest will succeed. Perhaps those hobbits will succeed in their thought in ways that we did not. After all, we were surprised many a time at what they could do, the way they got us and stirred up, and we had an end to it. And after a few days, we decided that we should help in the war. So, who knows what Merry and Pippin have begun through your help? Maybe there is hope. I would like to help you, in any way I can to tell you more about the Edwards. That reminds me of a song I would like to sing for you that will help you understand a little bit about the Edwards. What?
They should get comfortable.
It will be a while. Yes, real time.
Bring out
Relax.
stack
Tell me
of
this.
You all sit down by the side of the lake.
Unfolds the beach and leaf, and sap is in the bow. When light is on the wildwood stream, and wind is on the brow. When stride is long, and breath is deep, and keep the mountain air. Come back to me, come back to me, and say my land is fair.
And now the Entwife and her
When
group.
spring is come to golden field, and corn is in the blade, when blossom like a shining snow is on the orchard laid, when shower and sun upon the earth with fragrance fill the air, I'll linger here and will not come, because my land is fair. When summer lies upon the world, moon of gold, the roof of sleeping leaves, the dreams of trees unfold. When woodland halls are green and cool, is in the west, come back to me, come back to me, and say my land is best. When summer warms the hanging fruit and burns the berry brown, when straw is gold and ear is white, and harvest comes to town, when honey spills and apple swells, the wind be in the west, I'll linger here beneath the sun, because my land is best. When winter comes, the winter wild, that hill and wood shall slay. When trees shall fall, and starless night devour the sunless day. When wind is in the deadly east, when in the bitter rain, I'll look for thee, and call to thee, I'll come to thee again.
And now the Entwife.
Together we will take the road that leads into the west, and far away we'll find the land where both our hearts may rest.
And that is the song of the Ent and the Entwife. And that is our hope. You see, that is the song of how we were separated, and we will not be joined again, I think, for long days. But someday it may be yet. If you can find anything, I would greatly be thankful to you, because we do miss them, though it has been many thousands of years now since They last were seen at the destruction of the Brown Lands. What answers can I give you? What questions would you have about the Entwives that may help you on your journey?
Where have you looked?
Well, we were told by people that they went to the south, to the west, to the east. We did not know whom to believe, so we journeyed. We journeyed in Rohan. We journeyed west of Rohan into the Dunland area and west towards the sea. We never went north by the Shire. We also journeyed into South Gondor, all the way as far as the edge of Harad. And we did not think they were there. We journeyed east of Fangorn, over the river, east of the Brown Lands, near the river, near the forest, Mirkwood, which once was called Greenwood the Great, but did not travel very far east. We thought it was a vast plain there, and there were no gardens that we could see, so we turned back before we went any further east. And of course, to the south with Mordor, we knew they would not go. To the north, they never went, because that was the ancient stronghold of our first enemy, Morgoth. So we have never gone north. But I do not know whether they have gone east or south, though those two possibilities seem most likely. If they've not been found in the Shire, I do not think they are west of the Misty Mountains now. Either they are east of the mountains somewhere or south. But if you would find more knowledge, there may be some clues that we do not know in the Brown Lands where they last lived. You may find some clue that we overlooked. Or Roscobel, the home of the brown wizard Radagast. He may know something, although not as good. Radagast. Yeah, and that's on this map. If you can look there and see where these places are. Radagast is hard to find. Not like Gandalf. Now Gandalf, he's a good wizard. He likes trees best. But you could talk to Radagast, who knew more of beasts and small plants and things that Entwives are concerned with. Or you could go to Minas Tirith. The men of Gondor are nice folk, but too hasty. Their archives are not very old, only a few millennia, and all that paper, too many trees used up, I think. So you probably won't find anything, but don't let me stop you. Those three places, any of them may hold clues you could pursue. But I know a few things about the Entwives you should know. They liked open places, not forests like we do. Always that was the case, since Yavanna Kementari. The Queen of the Earth, one of the powers of the West. She was always the one they served. They loved fruit, trees, meadows, herbs, grasses in the autumn fields, and then they ordered them to grow according to their wishes and bear leaf and fruit to their liking. And they loved order and plenty and peace, which is why I thought they might be near the Shire. They like everything in their spot, where they can see it grow, whereas we Ents have always been wanderers, content with looking and noticing, not changing and making. That's why the Entwives made gardens to live in. Everywhere they have gone, they have always established gardens. They first made them near Fangorn Forest. Then, as we wandered away, they moved across the river to what is now the Brown Lands, and the Entwives taught their craft to men who honored them greatly. But that is all I can tell you. They look different than we do. They look more sun-parched, working in the fields, but their eyes are the same eyes of our people. And as he looks at you, you can see these deep green wells, wise with
centuries of knowledge. So at this point, you all feel that you need to debate the benefits of each direction you could go and choose a course of action. You can go to one of these places, two of them, or all three. If you go to all three, your provisions will definitely run out with all the traveling, and you'll have to start, taking. Oh, and by the way, we didn't go over this, but you can assume that you were able to successfully smoke the deer meat over fire and preserve it.
So here's a question. So what if
Is this for me or for the group?
for you,
Okay.
if I decide that insight doesn't, what is that? Okay, how does that apply?
How does that apply? That's a great question. Yeah.
Here in this situation, like, would that help to narrow down the possibilities?
It sometimes can. I mean, the first one you always go to is going to be lore.
Right.
And if you like the land that you're going through, it sometimes helps you to have an idea of things. But this isn't really going to apply here. So it would be more insight. Just to help kind of explain a little bit about what that would be like, I'll read to you what it says about it. And then you can think about that. Okay.
Okay, I didn't know if that would help with
No, it's a good question to know
My
what to
lore
use.
skills does not center on this area of the world.
So insight is the ability of a hero to see beyond
he's farther
appearances,
east towards the Andaman, too.
recognizing people's hidden thoughts and beliefs. Heroes with insight can recognize when someone is lying and can draw useful conclusions about people's motives. A hero with a high insight score is often recognized as being a sensible and discerning individual, and many might seek his counsel. A successful insight roll provides a hero with a faithful, if partial, portrait of the character observed. So your insight is that the Treebeard is very, very wise, and that if he suggests these places to look, that at least some of them probably will provide information.
Right. So it's just more like a character, knowing the
He
character.
comes off as a bit pessimistic, but you believe that there's some potential for finding something.
So, a couple of things. One, my character studied an Arab lore that learned ancient wars.
You have old lore, don't you?
Yes. I'm also a map enthusiast.
Ah.
So I have many maps. I've seen many maps.
Yes, you have.
A number of maps. The lands between the Sea of Ruin and Mirkwood, aren't they plains?
They are.
And they're not desolate unless you go south.
They're not desolate, no.
We're super north.
No, they're like prairies.
Right.
Yeah, so they would have animals. It's sparsely populated by people.
Usually. Yeah, very few people. There's also, because I know Rune's troubled Dale occasionally.
Right, so at this point, what I need to show you is the extent of the Reunited Kingdom, which I need to look and see if I have any of these markings.
If you hold it in front of your face, Brian, I might be able to read it from this distance.
Okay.
So I would think, okay, so that helps people know the way to Rune, because that's.
Well, and we're
Fourth
at
page.
We're talking about going to Radagast and then
because we can hit the ground. Yeah, since we're at Isengard, we can go over, hit the ground lands, and then go north along the river to get to Radagast.
Looks like we're gonna have a lot of information.
Yeah, if anybody has it, it would be him.
I don't think we want to find the allies if they're Mirkwood.
That's a point. I don't think we need to waste our time with Gondor because one, Mary and Pippin have both spent extensive time in Gondor.
And
if they thought there was resource, I mean, they could have just simply not looked. But
and Harald's a terrible that's what it is.
So this is the side for this. Right? The Reunited Kingdom is all the Greenland. So it now comprises all the land from the end of the river, north of the world, including the Sea of Ruin.
okay.
So Dorwinian, which is up
So-
here in the area, that's part of it.
I
But
like that
this
this
is
goes
all
around
Randall Dales.
Rohan.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the men of Rune,
The men of Rune are now under they are under the authority and the dominion of Gondor. Yeah.
But
Not the far east.
No one's really explored these
No, not.
So,
And so the Ents have basically gone to where the letter N is, and that's as far as they've ever gone.
Okay.
And at that point, they turn back.
So
Is the inland sea
basically,
a saltwater sea or a
No, it's a
freshwater?
freshwater sea.
we could actually go up to the hill we resupply and work our way south.
Take
freshwater sea.
the road.
Okay, true.
Right.
It's
Kind of weird.
Follow
It is
the-
kind of weird.
Follow the river up.
But it does
Right,
make
yeah.
you think a
Take
little bit.
Well, the
main
Great
forest road
Lakes
across where it's
could be
safer.
called
Go to
seas.
the
They're
hill
so
and
large.
explore
Well, yeah,
all of
because
this,
I
which is
think
going to take a
Black
long,
Sea,
long
the only
time.
reason
But I
why
think
it's
it's
considered
a
a sea
because
is because it has a connection.
we can get
That
that
whole
all
right
here.
But
I think it's also
But it's
the
a
rock
lot-
content.
That's
Yeah.
right, it's a lot less.
I would think
So,
Not as salty, but
That's
not
right.
Also,
south of the rivers.
oh,
either
that might
along
be
the
the,
border down here.
Yeah,
Probably
we're
won't be along
talking,
the mountains of Mordor.
No,
Oh, right.
I
So
would
on the
say
Great Lakes, you
somewhere-
got Lake Superior
My
or Lake Michigan.
judgment
There's tides. They're large enough that the water actually
That's my opinion.
fluctuates
If not,
depending
we
on the
can
tides.
circle back around.
The far side of the sea.
We can either go back there to get
Yeah,
more
because
supplies
it's
or stop.
Yeah, because up
I don't
here
know
you
what
start
you
running
read,
into
but
dragons.
one of the things
And
that they
through
are
here is
all
not
in
super fertile.
Up
Up
here,
here,
fishing marlins.
there's going to be no sea.
Yeah, we don't want
But
any water at all.
the issue is
Walleye
is the word sea
Yeah.
and the way that it's
Now, to
connected
be fair, I mean,
to
the
Jewish
elves
people
did
was a very
cross
troublesome
from
thing.
But
So like,
it's a symbolic.
right,
Yeah.
right. The idea
But
is
that was a
that
really,
there
really
could be
rough
large,
That was a really rough
lakes,
trip. I may not have managed
lakes,
to get
you know,
through the whole
large
thing, and I
lakes.
got through there.
you know, that
But
it's
nothing that would separate you from others, or nothing that would be
yeah,
chaotic,
Really
chaotic,
well
or the
done.
invaders might come. Yeah, exactly.
Pretty sure they're
I'll
not.
be right back. I'm gonna use the bathroom. You guys you gotta decide on your strategy, and then you can tell me.
So my guess
If
is
we
they're
can
probably
find
not
what the
used. That's
remnants.
one direction they haven't really gone.
Yeah.
Well, not only that, but whenever I look at a map, I didn't realize like how much unexplored area. Like,
Yeah.
like this is you know most of this, and you know most of this, but like
Right, and this is
This
showing
stretch of
an
land
inland
through
sea
here.
and major rivers. There's no saying what tributaries we've got going on down through here.
There's a lot.
They don't necessarily need a full Anduin-sized river to be prosperous. So they could have little streams or
Or
mini
in
lakes
Kent,
over this area.
There's not a lot of
well,
people.
wasn't
Exactly.
the
That's what I'm
Easterlings
thinking.
weren't the
Whoa.
Easterlings from over here?
Yes,
Mhm.
but they live on this side of the lake,
Right.
and they do not go this way until the United Kingdom. So there's very little. There may be some ruins here, but there's almost nobody.
I love me some ruins. There's so much fun.
Fun to explore.
Let's ransack some
Carefully,
ruins.
very careful, not ransack. No, carefully and politely observe. Do not sleep near, but observe.
Obviously, I've been playing a text-based role-playing game where you're a wizard and you go into this ruins and you're just like being chased by a bunch of goblins.
Oh yeah.
You don't have a choice. You ransack the bodies to essentially get yourself out of the
Your characters from
situation.
playing role-playing games?
Huh?
Your characters from playing role-playing games in Middle Earth?
No.
So if we
Text.
go
I'm-
east
Yeah,
along
yeah,
the south edge of Fanghorn
I'm trying to
to
bring you
Anduin
back
and
into
find a
that.
place to ford.
Well, once Brian's back, we'll
We
be
need to be on
back
that
in a
side
proper
of
form.
the
Well, you guys are
river
supposed
in
to
any
figure
case.
this
To
out
be able
yourself.
to reach.
Hobby
They did.
disappeared.
They did. Yep. If we can find the remnants of their old gardens, it might give us an idea of what sort of thing to look for when we get into the areas where they might have planted new gardens. It'll give us an idea of the sort of plants to watch for, the sort of formatting they use.
And there could be a trail of gardening.
I mean, that's a possibility too. If they were traveling along and making little herb gardens along the way.
What if they set up like one of those nature's corridors where because remember woodland animals and such like them. So
Yeah.
what if they follow them naturally in migration?
That's very
So
possible.
we could also watch if we have the
We
time.
might
we could watch
find a
migration.
trail there.
Yeah.
Now, it might start out as just some herbs that we find that they might have missed because there's
Something that might not be, or something that's very prevalent. Mint, for example, is very, very aggressive, and it grows. It's hardy. It grows, and it spreads.
But if we find one,
So what are you saying? We should follow the scent of
No, that's just an individual example of what an herb
If
would
we
do.
find the herbs
Right.
that have been cultivated specifically, if it's a naturally occurring thing like mint,
Right.
it occurs in natural places.
It does, but
But
doesn't
if you
necessarily
find it
be
somewhere
native
not.
to ground lands either.
Right.
Yeah.
Something that might be out of place, and your herb lore would be very handy for
Yes.
knowing which herbs are found naturally in which areas.
And I would want to collect them.
Oh, please do. Yes. Healing and T-Suns. T-Suns are our friend.
Okay, I'm about to hear your wonderful plan.
We've been working on it.
Show how hasty
Or
we are.
we won't even tell them our plan and take off.
Wait, so just so I'm getting this kind of beginning.
Let's
Are we
start.
just cutting straight through to the fort, or are we going to edge Fenghorn across?
It might be easier since we're on horseback to edge the bottom layer of the forest rather than try to take them through with our
going
road.
through the forest is a painful idea.
Whoa.
Horses die in our
We hadn't even got past Fenghorn.
Fenghorn, yeah, like, are we just cutting right through?
Let's
or-
skirt Fenghorn. We can go along the tree line. but-
Yeah.
Or we can go down and see a little bit of Belmont and stop at the towns. Because they die. And those
Well, what if we-
use roads?
What if we, because what we,
Sorry for
why don't we go to one of the towns, get a little bit extra provisions, head to the ford?
So the less full is this whole area. There's a little town. I think there's a town there. There's a town there. I think there's a fort somewhere along there. And then we can just cut north up there. I think that's the last town.
Obviously, I do not understand, like, middle order, like, I didn't even realize. I mean, when
That's
we
why
talk
we
about
play.
the
That's
Eastern
true.
Lights, right?
It's very.
I'm not very
most-
knowledgeable on Easterlings either. So.
Most people actually wouldn't have a lot of knowledge because it would be considered kind of on the
I
edge.
would
But
love to find a tour group here.
the great thing is that when we role play, we can say, okay, would my character know anything about this? And that's where you can ask me to help you.
Right. Well, I would think,
No, I'm serious. I think this is a really good point where the Bardings need to think about, like, would my character know anything about this or
well,
that?
since we live over here, right?
You live right by Dale. So Dale is right up there by the Lonely Mountain. Go ahead, Austin.
Why don't, to my understanding, Wildmen inhabit a large part of the area, right? And because Dunlending talk a lot to the Wildmen, would we hear anything about these places? Like any major landmarks or such?
The wild men. I'm sorry. The
Wild.
You mean the woodmen?
Yeah.
The woodmen of
The woodmen are.
of Mirkwood?
Yeah.
Or
Yeah, because it says in the book, here in the book, that the Dunlending talk to a lot of people from around this area. So wouldn't maybe one or two
Well,
vague?
they have a connection with the dwarves, for example. The dwarves, Thorin's company. Basically the dwarves who, when Smog the Dragon came and attacked, all these dwarves that were exiled ended up going first to here and stayed with the Dunlendings, who gave them hospitality before they went over to the Blue Mountains, and then eventually came back. So there's been a long history of with other races outside of the Rohirrim having contacts, and so they're not completely insulated to themselves. They do have a sense, but your people don't really know much beyond this, except you've heard of the Sea of Rune. You know there's some mountains over there.
We do have a copy of this map.
You have that map.
Okay,
This was
perfect.
provided to you by the hobbits because they're,
Okay.
and this guy also is map crazy. But the hobbits in the Shire, map making is a very high profession. You know, it's considered more respectable than being a fighter because you know they kind of look down a little bit. It's still a little bit sketchy. It's more acceptable now in our time, but in the past it was always kind of like
They're artists.
troublemaker.
Joe.
Yeah, and they like details. Hobbits are really big into facts and how are you related, all that kind of stuff.
So my biggest question is, would we know if these areas are populated?
Yeah, it's the kind of question you need to ask.
So that's what I was trying to get to.
You're trying to get
It
to that.
said that the elders of these tribes could talk to Wildmen extensively.
Okay, we'd have to find the source. So if you want me to,
I think what they're
here,
saying about
I'll find that for you.
is is in
this area, because this area is wide.
Okay.
And like
So-
lows and stuff.
Right. So here's what I'm going to say in answer to Drake's question that is helpful for everybody to know. You do know that though the plains of Rovanian, of East Rovanian, between the River Anduin and the Sea of Rune are pretty windswept, and though there's lots of wildlife there, there's not many people in those plains. There is along the river running, that valley, there is more population. And in fact, you may remember the wine of Dorwinian wine. It's famous. The land of Dorwinian it's a small vassal kingdom northwest of the Sea of Rune along the river running, and they have extensive trade connections with both the elves of formerly Mirkwood, now it's called the Wood of Greenleaves, and Dale. Because through the trade through the river running is basically that trade route in which goods come up the river from Dorwinian and parts east. So, as trade routes will, there's people that you don't have contact with, but the people of Dorwinian do. And so even though the Easterlings are still not at peace with Gondor, there's still trade relationships that Dorwinian has because they're kind of neutral. And they're able to get, say, spices from the east or whatever, and they then are able to trade that up. Meanwhile, all the things that are produced in Dale by the dwarves, by the men, or from the elves, they get traded downriver. So there is quite a healthy.
So what we could do is we could actually go down to Dorwinian and search from there, because we might run into a little contention with Easterlings.
The Easterlings aren't going to give you trouble there because this is underneath the reunited kingdom.
Okay, so those that are there understand that.
Oh,
yeah. Screw you guys. No, they're going to.
Your letter basically gives you free pass through those lands that are in that area, but you might want to find more clues before you look at it.
So I found the source material. I think I might be taking it too far on context.
Sure.
Read the beginning of Grim of Aspect.
Is that one of your?
It's one of my abilities.
It's your
So
character's
my virtue.
one of the reasons also what we're thinking is we go to the Crownlands, then up to Radagast, and then up to Dale or something, and then we can, resupply. We can go down to Dorwinian, resupply, and start.
That was what I was thinking. Otherwise, I was going to try and get, if I could get the understanding of like a landmark from around here, we can put on the map as another guide.
Well, there will be a town we can mark.
Yeah.
If we go downriver, and that's if we find clues that point us in that direction. If we don't
Yeah.
find anything, then
No, that's what I thought. I just thought
But
I'd
it's
try
worth
it.
asking. We're trying.
They've already searched for along the Gondor. So
Yeah, they searched
I
for.
thought we were going to go down this way.
well, we still might get supplies.
So,
That's what that was my
Right,
point.
but
I don't know if you
before
want to copy those locations onto the other map, just so everybody knows where Russ Goebel is, where the
We kind of
Groundlands
slightly
are,
circled it.
and then where Minas Tirith are. Just so you know, in relationship to where you are, you're at the bottom of the mountains there on the west end of Rohan. Okay, so I guess I just need you guys to tell me if you're going to go to one of these places or more than one place, and in what order do you choose to go?
We're going to go down towards Rohan to get supplies.
Okay.
And then.
And because you have to go south to get to the ford.
Yeah.
So,
And where will you be heading?
first fort is there.
Okay. And then up to the Brownlands.
Brownlands first?
Yep.
Yep.
And then
So you're going to Brownlands and then to Radagast?
yeah, depending on what we find in the Brownlands. If
True.
we find like little hints that they move to stay straight east, we
Okay.
might just follow that and hunt our way along if we can.
Okay, so you'll kind of see what happens when you get to Brownlands and possibly go up.
But I think our standing plan is go see Radagast after that, and then probably up to Dale and resupply.
And then down along the rivers.
Just so you know, the Great East Road is still being constructed and it's not complete yet through the forest. So that would be going around Mirkwood, and it's going to take probably another 3 to 4 weeks to add on to get to Dale. So you might want to reconsider going that far north.
We might not then.
But there are places nearby that can. What specifically are you wanting to be resupplied with that you might?
Well, part of it is also, I could do some research over there.
Well, let's wait and see what we find out. And if you don't find out enough, that's a great idea. To go back.
There's also Loch Lorien. There's no elves on this, so that might be slightly problematic. I don't know if there's a ford near it, but that is just across the river.
All good ideas. So Brownlands first, but roll on to stock up on food and.
And because you have to go south to go to this ford anyway.
Okay. All right.
So
As you
follow
just-
the edge of the
as
train line
you-
and then down the river.
I think along the Holy Street path, because that's an actual road that goes.
Oh, that
through
is.
there.
Perfect.
Okay, so as you leave the Treebeard wishes you well, and he says to them as you're leaving, if you find the Entwives, ask if Fimbrethil still lives. She was special to me, but I hope you will not be wasting your time. Why not stay here and breathe the air with me for a few weeks?
Lord Treebeard, would we be permitted to take some of the fruit if it is ripe? And
Yes.
help spread its seed wider than it might otherwise be spread?
Yes, of course. You may take any fruit you see, but do not cut any branches from the trees.
Many thanks, my lord.
It helps that it's autumn because it's definitely the time to gather fruit. So good thing. Good
Any
thing.
just like dead wood I might gather up, if that's not offensive to humans.
Dead wood?
Fallen wood, naturally expired.
Yes. Well, I suppose that would be all right. As long as you don't take too much, it enriches the earth.
Then I shall leave all of it. Not wish to compromise the fertility of the land.
Yes, that's what I.
Okay.
I don't want to be crushed by that.
So it's a painful proposition. All right. So you travel from Isengard to the Brown Lands. That's about 350 miles. And along the way, you there's a few villages. You know, the road here are never big in town building, but they do have places along the way. Before you get to Edoras,
Is that where the ford is?
no, Edoras is the capital city.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
we'll be stopping in that rest.
But
Yeah, that would probably be the politic thing to do.
let's just see here.
That's,
They
yeah.
will write us down and eat us.
You travel through the land of the horse lords, and you are stopped by some riders of Rohan to state your business. And they're all on horses, with spears, and full battle armor.
Who has the letter?
Yes.
Hoppy, if you would be so kind.
We
Their
suddenly
lances fall in your
put
direction.
I
the
lean
limping towards the
casually
center of
over
the
the
group.
pommel of my saddle and just
Oh,
smile.
32 horsemen. No biggie.
I try to act as if there's not.
State your business, please, in our land. Free folk though you may be.
We are here at the request of the king. I have a letter of introduction and safe travel.
I see.
Well, in that case, the Aetheod shall give you an armed escort to the edge, whichever direction you are going, to keep you safe from any stray wolves that may still be in our territory.
Thank you so very much.
Yes,
We're,
we are friends of King Alessar.
we're headed for the Brown Lands.
I see. Well, let us give you provisions at Edoras. We're traveling that way, and then we'll escort you to the fort.
Many thanks, my friends.
All right. So, again, in the interest of, for our convention today, I'm just going to compress some time. You get escorted to Edoras and are resupplied with food. So again, you're back up to 2 weeks food plus whatever you've managed to smoke. And your horses are definitely rested. And anybody who lost any endurance points from the attack of the murder of crows can go back up to full endurance, back up to your full amount. Okay? All right. you are escorted by the Riders of Rohan through the Entwade and finally to the Undeeps, which would be the more shallow curves of the Anduin River where there is a good ford. To ford, they leave you there, and so you will have to ford the river. This is a low difficulty, but you will have to ride across with an athletics check, and you're mounted. It's not too fast flowing.
It's how you show the horses together. So.
Okay.
One horse all the way across to maybe tie off a guide wire for the rest of them.
Who's
Pony in the middle.
Okay. So that'll give the rest of you an advantage in crossing. Who's going to be the first? The river here at this point is about 60 feet across.
Who has the best athletics?
I have 4.
I have 3. I have 4.
So
I'd go for it. I'm
okay,
adventurous.
that's fine. So you lead the way with the rope to try to attach it to the other side.
12, 13, 17, 21.
Yeah, that's enough.
Extraordinary success.
Yeah, absolutely. You want to since you got an extraordinary success, do you want to narrate kind of how
I'm
successful
going
you
to
were?
find a couple shallow spots and I'm going to stake a stick that I brought with and tie it on there, make sure it's nice and secure, and then do that a couple of times.
Ground is nice and soft and yet hard enough to grasp it, and
Good play.
it's planted well.
Make it so it's easy to.
You've got an
pull off
amazing
when
knot.
it's
You
done.
put it in that thing, you know.
I'll be able to
He is
untie it
of
with
Dale.
the
They would
right
have
fold.
boats.
What's that?
He is of Dale. They would know boat knots.
That's true. They would know boat knots.
A great sailor that's never been on the water.
But you might have helped out in the docks.
My
True.
genetics.
All right,
My
guys.
genetics.
So he made it easier for the rest of you. So the rest of you get to roll and meet 10. 10 is the number. Neither 9 nor 11. 12 is way up. Actually, anything 10 or above is best.
And
Athletics.
through
Oh,
great
I'm
success.
Okay, great.
18 was a great success.
You ride
Success.
across, grasping your rope. You're just great. Athletics, and you?
12.
Yep, great.
11.
Okay,
Gandalf through with a great success.
very good. You all make it across, even the ponies,
Right, we're over here.
making smoke rings. That's right.
I like that the ponies are making smoke rings.
Yes.
Okay.
That's how awesome they are.
Oh, she got me on English. She got me. Yes. Antecedents. Got me again. Yes, I should say they, meaning the ranger and the barding on the other hand. Yes. Blowing smoke rings in which ponies are walking through the smoke rings.
There we go.
There we go. All right.
Well,
So,
the ponies, the horses perhaps not, but the ponies are blowing smoke rings because they are from the Shire.
They are indeed.
I'd like to see that. Okay, so you guys all make it across the River Anduin at the ford of the South Undeeps.
Seriously.
And you ride up onto the bank, and with a flick of your wrist, you untie your amazing knot. And leave the wood there, I assume, or not?
Yeah, it's fine.
Leave it there for maybe on the way back. Or...
Well, you know, it's the beginning of
New bridge!
constructed
100 years from now, there will be a grand bridge at this spot. Okay.
Do we want to untie the horses from each other and
Yes, please.
stow our rope?
Yes.
A family cereal would be about a week.
Yeah. Okay. So you successfully travel up over the bank and up into the Brown Lands. Immediately, you sense that this land is lightened. It is a place where you hear the wind blowing over it. You can see nothing growing, not even grass. It's not a desert. At least it doesn't appear to be a desert at this place. But it is just, it's dirt and rock. It looks like a place that should be fertile with the river nearby, but nothing is able to grow here apparently.
You know what happened here? Or is it always
So this is from what you know in your old lore, before the last alliance of elves and men, Sauron knew that the gathering armies of elves and men were proceeding from Rivendell over the mountains and down the Anduin River Valley, and so in order to prevent them from being replenished at the famous gardens of the Entwives, where they would be able to take stock or and be able to rest before coming to the battlefield.
So he drew up a map.
He burned. His forces burned it in advance, and and they poisoned the earth. Yes, they did.
So they would have fled either north or east after that, and they haven't found them here. So, assuming they survived.
Well, if
They
they
would have
got
to go
themselves to
east.
the southern end of Mirkwood, they would have had to contend with Dolgadur as well.
So you're on the edge of the Drownlands. It's worth a look. So why don't you all do a search? Just a second here. Long ago it was blasted, burned, salted, and poisoned by Mordor's minions. You wander over the land for a few days. So go ahead, and during your wanderings, I'd probably explore or hunting. Since we don't know what we're looking for, explore or hunting, either one will be good. It's going to be difficult, though. It's going to be very difficult.
I'd find a demon.
Mine
Yep.
landed on I think it's a 4. Landed on an edge. So we'll
Double
take a look.
sixes, wow.
10,
Okay, while
20,
somebody
25
else...
with a great success.
Okay, who's your fellowship focus? Oh, yeah. While you're stooping to look down low at something on earth you think might be significant, he doesn't even see you, and his horse begins to ride over the top of you. Roll, you're going to have to dodge his horse. So this is, let's just...
Athletics?
We'll just do athletics for a dodge.
Let's take him an apple.
I'll give you a bonus on your parry there.
Not
Yeah, he was looking for something.
Plus 3 parry.
Oh.
So that's 11. No, it's good.
Doesn't respect you.
Okay, you take 1 hit point as one of the hooves, as you dodge to the side, you're like, whoa! And one of the horse's hooves hits you on the back, and that'll leave a bruise.
Can my horse have the trait which doesn't notice humans?
Yeah!
I think that,
We accidentally got you a trained battle horse.
So,
I hop down and cuff the horse.
Okay, so epic fail on looking for any signs. Anything else?
I got a 27 with 1 great success.
Oh!
Nice. I got a 25 with a great success.
Okay.
17.
17? Okay. So, you two, I didn't ask what you got for exploring. Doesn't matter. Okay.
Really doesn't matter.
So you two, you spy something and kind of comparing notes. You see, looks like the burned remnants of tree trunks a little distance away. And you get the hobbit to come over and look as well. And with your keen eyesight, you confirm that those seem to be tree trunks, but you have to look a little bit closer and right over to them. It's probably about a mile away. And it's on the northeast edge of the Brownlands.
Somebody messed with the settings, huh?
This morning,
Yeah, so he set it to auto, so now it's full of water. I'm gonna have to drain it. It has to always be set to manual pool.
Yep, sorry about that.
Please.
We can turn it off. For a while.
Well, it's off now. It won't run now. It's full of water.
Okay.
So. Yeah, anytime you turn that back on, if the power gets interrupted, set it to cool, not to auto.
I'll keep
It'll
that.
fill up with condensation.
Okay, noted.
Yep, sorry.
Okay, so
It's much warmer now. That's okay.
Poppy, you don't see any enemies around. You've been keeping an eye as well, and so you don't. There's nothing else around. Again, no birds even flying over the mountains. It's not a place that any living thing likes to visit.
Do we kind of feel a sense of foreboding while we're here?
Yeah, you do feel a sense of foreboding.
oh, I wanted to roll.
Well, I told you you could after treat. Yeah,
I
you
was
can
going to do
interject.
Huh?
You can interject at any point to do that, but you don't see anything that's alive. Again, it's a place that feels blighted.
woeful.
You can, yeah, sure. You can either use it now or you can use it
Well,
afterwards.
I'm feeling a little unsettled by
Yeah.
the area.
I'm getting kicked by my horse.
So,
Okay, so you roll Wolful Insight. Let's see, that was, oh no, I think
Woeful
I'm
Foresight.
wanting to immigrate.
Wolful Foresight.
Wanting to import hobbits.
That's
see if
gonna
we can
be
get them to bring them
In
around
here,
that
you're going to need to look at
There
what
will
it
be.
includes and what you rolled. Okay, so if Katie, if you could just write this down so I remember that
Hobbits have a little bit of Yvonne.
that
They might be able to. No.
Eric or Eirik, E-I-R-I-K,
It's been 2,000 years.
he
Salt probably comes.
attempts
No.
Woeful
It definitely,
Foresight.
it definitely
There you
needs.
go.
We would have to have, you know,
We'd need wizards at the very least.
Well, I mean, if you brought
Come on. You know it's in
Your
here.
range is great.
Oh, no, it's bargain, isn't it?
Apartments.
Bargain.
Lacking.
If we go wrong, guy.
Sorry.
No, you're not.
So we could import good earth from over here, or maybe even Lorien would be one to
trying
turn.
to carry your hands over, like,
There we go.
probably back in the world.
I wouldn't put business anywhere in
So
the
let's
They just
see.
plant themselves there for 10,000 years.
I like how you guys are thinking now. That's the kind of thinking that gets you places. Okay. Virtue, isn't it?
And
Yeah.
unless I'm very much mistaken, the
we're
X.
gonna barge in there with a shotgun.
Much
Okay.
better in there than out here.
Okay,
I'm
there you
sitting
go.
next to
You invoke your power of foresight. You don't have to roll.
Oh, okay.
So, all right. You feel a sense of foreboding that warns you. Future is always uncertain, and sometimes what you foresee never materializes. But what you see in your mind's eye is this vague picture of a small river and a ravine, and there's something behind you that's tracking you, and so this is that's kind of the picture in your mind. It doesn't look at all like where you are right now. You have no clue why you're getting this woeful foresight, but it seems to be something that may happen in the future. That something's tracking you, and you're in like a ravine. And there's a stream there that you're following it upriver. So, for whatever that means,
Well,
keep note of it.
I'm not sure that it, and since I don't see a river nearby, nor a ravine, and I have keen eyesight,
Yeah.
I will keep this little tidbit of information to myself.
Okay. All right. So you guys, I assume you go closer and look at this ring of trees.
Yeah.
All right. You wander over the land and you go and find this round circle of tree trunks. These tree trunks have been, not only have the trees been cut down, but some force has so baked the earth and made it so inhospitable that ironically it has preserved these tree trunks. Even though, from what you know of your lore and talking amongst each other, these tree trunks, the Brownlands were destroyed 3,000 years ago. I mean, this is ancient history. And so normally tree trunks would all be destroyed. But something has so hardened them and dried them that they're almost petrified. But there's one interesting facet of information that you notice about this ring of tree trunks that's blackened and hardened. And that is that the circle is not complete. This is a circle of tree trunks, almost like a grove, if you will. It must have been at one time, although what kind of tree it was, you can't tell. But there's an open gap. The one tree is missing, and it's on the east side of the circle of trees. So a ring of tree trunks, and the gap on the east side. So you talk amongst that with each other what that means or what you think it's about.
Well, my curiosity wants me to get a closer look.
Yeah, you can wander around and look at it closer.
Can we tell the difference between trees and ant corpses?
Yes,
Sweet. And they're definitely trees.
these are definitely trees.
Great.
Although what you don't know is how awake they were. From what
That's
you know of
okay.
ants can awaken trees like
Mhm.
horns.
Mm-hmm.
So whether that's how that one spot is missing, there's nothing there that indicates there ever was a tree in that spot. So it seems like either there never was a tree in that spot and it was left intentionally open, or it was a huorn that moved out from there.
Well, that's why I'm gonna ask the question. I have tracking.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything, because I know Huron's one that move in the conventional sense. Is there any way where it looks like, almost like a snake-like pattern where it's something like ripped, say, a root up and out and moved in such a manner? Like, are there small little snippets in the ground, even if they're
Roll
very
search.
faint?
Roll search, and
That's what I
by now you could try as well.
Yeah, I'm gonna roll search.
Both of you roll search. I mean, this is really, really old stuff, but the lay of the land may furnish a few clues.
So roll them all together. Yeah.
All
Yeah.
together at the same time. You think maybe there is. It's really hard to tell with the ground. You think that it seems like it's not completely flat. I mean, this is like hardened, cracked white clay. That's what you're looking at. And this is really, there's been no water here for hundreds of years, if not thousands. And so since the brown lands were destroyed, this is what's left. And from that empty spot east, it looks like the ground was disturbed a little bit, but you can't tell. What did you get?
I got a 20.
Okay, that gives a little bit more information. It's not definitive, but you think, based on what you can see, that it's possible, it's even likely that whatever was here has moved in an easterly direction. But you can't track this any further except for a few feet. You guys wanted to share with Drake what you found when you looked at this
Well, together we found
circle?
We found that there was a circle of trees and
Tree
one,
trunks.
and there was some kind of drag marks or something, some kind of impression, but it didn't go very far where the opening in the circle.
Before we lost it.
Yeah,
Is
On the
it
east
similar
side.
to like the gate with the ends at Isengard?
It looks virtually identical, except that in the one in the Treegarth Vorthank, the gap is in the south.
Right,
It's
it's
and this is one on the east. Yeah.
So this is probably their version of that.
Yeah.
Is it of a similar size then?
Yes.
Okay, so
You
it's a
notice
very, very
it's
large circle.
Very large circle, so that parallel might be very helpful to think about when you think about what did it mean. What did it mean in the tree
Go
garden?
that direction.
What was the significance of that?
East.
Prosperity. And,
East.
yeah.
So maybe towards the east.
We can.
Or they fled towards the east to get away.
How does the earth there leave a trail? Does it leave a trail, or is it all hard?
It's hard.
It's very hard and cracked, but from what these two found, it seems that it's very possible that that gap may have been there was a huorn that moved out and left that spot. But in either case, whether there was a huorn or not, that gap was left, and the rest of them did not leave.
Right. So the last grove we were at, all of the trees were the same as the guy that was just standing there. So my guess, at least, would be that they went east.
Okay, so you've gained a clue from the brown lands.
So do we want to?
So add an experience point to your tally. And now you need to decide what to do next.
East or Radagast?
I say go Radagast no matter what. Because if we can get his counsel and we can tell him about what we've learned here, maybe he can shed even more light onto it.
He is the brown wizard. He is the one most concerned with growing things.
It would take from the Brownlands to Roscoe, which is towards the southern end of Mirkwood.
Mm-hmm.
It would take probably about 3 days to get there.
Okay. also
3 days is
a
worth it.
week of resources to go there and back.
Yeah.
Brownlands doesn't seem to have any hunting capabilities.
How far east could we get in a week?
Based on your knowledge of travel and looking at the map, it's hard to be precise, but you're thinking that probably you could probably reach the Sea of Rune in like a week's hard riding.
Okay, so
Well, hard with travel with pack pony. If everybody's able to make long days with that, it wouldn't be grueling, but it would be if everybody's riding long days, you can make it in about a week.
Can we do long days in the winter? We've got to be closing in on November by now.
It's not November yet. You're now in the beginning of October still. It's maybe the second week of October.
Okay.
So you have a diminishing window right now where although you're to the south, so where you're at is actually relatively free of frost at this point still.
Where's the equator?
It's down far south in South Harad.
Okay.
But essentially, already at this point in October, the northern part of Mirkwood, this is where snow is happening. But you remember, you're far enough south. You're down here. You have a chance to get up to Roscovo and back, and then travel east. And that should happen before any onset of winter.
Roscovo settlement.
It's a small settlement of woodmen inside a hedge.
So we'd be able to buy
Inside a hedge.
supplies.
Guarded by the wizard.
Yeah. Okay. So
I think it's pleasant.
if we want to go to Radagast, we can.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
How far
I
east is
think
the
I'd rather just go east while we're on the trail, but
Well, I
we have to.
question? And I don't know if we would have access to this
is
answer.
better than having nothing.
Potentially, yeah.
Because he could have information that enlightens us a bit more. Like
He
maybe,
was around in the first age.
well, what if we bring him a piece of the of the trees, and maybe through his magic he can identify it. That way we know what kind
I'm
of
going to
tree
search
we're
around
looking
for any little shards of wood from where the missing tree might have gone.
Do we know how far east the blight extends?
The blight extends just a little bit east of where you found that. So it seems like
So like here-ish?
So if you, so essentially you're on the northeast edge of the Brownlands, right up under there.
Okay.
And the circle seems to be kind of on the edge of wherever the gardens were. This just kind of represents the edge of their
Territory.
their territory.
So
So
I
you can assault and destroy anything further east, really, after you get out of this kind of white clay. You can see in the distance the plains.
Okay.
So clearly,
It
the
was
part
a
that
very
was
targeted
destroyed,
attack.
yes, very targeted attack. The part that was destroyed can be identified as overlapping where the gardens were.
Okay, and then I have a question about the ring of trees.
Yeah.
Going to the trees and feeling them, what do they feel like?
What do you mean? What do they feel like?
Like, well, so like, are they, are they like the evergreen outside where, when you feel them, especially when they're dead, you can pull the bark easily off of it? Or is it more like,
Are they more petrified?
yeah, are they more petrified?
They, you can't identify them very well without bringing it to Radagast, but they feel rough and kind of flaky. Just very, very, like when it's stayed there for a long time. But when you touch it, you notice that surprisingly parts of it start to peel off. It's like a tree whose bark was in layers.
So I'm going to, taking some cloth,
Bingo.
I'm going to try and recover, I'm going to try and take some of it with me and tightly wrap it.
Okay.
To try and
for a minute, and he takes my idea.
That's what happens.
Good synergy. Good group synergy.
Yeah, actually, that's a great idea, and so that's what you're going to do to help give an idea to see if you can find anything more out. Okay, so you guys are going to Journey. Is that okay with the guy?
He's the
You're the
guy.
guy. Is it okay with everybody else?
Yes.
Sorry,
Yeah,
I'm
even
not
the
gonna-
invisible man.
I fell asleep.
Okay.
I was thinking of that.
All right. You travel up to the edge of Mirkwood. Man, since the last time you've been this way, it feels like a very different forest.
Just a little evil.
Yeah, just a little. For one thing, it's a relief to get out of the Brownlands. It's a really depressing place. And at this point, I am going to need to make you all do a fatigue check because you've been traveling quite a bit. So you're going to take your travel roll. and you have to pass a fatigue test. Otherwise, you will be weary because that's just all your travel. So travel, find your travel, and then don't forget your feet die and roll with it.
So, do I just roll over my fatigue, or?
You just roll.
Oh, okay.
Fatigue won't be affected until I say anything. So ignore your fatigue score. You're just rolling travel, and I'll tell you whether or not you feel fatigue.
Oh, okay. So you have to check.
This reflects whether or not you've been tired out by 11. Unless you spend a hope point, you will be weary and really tired and wiped out.
Okay, so I'll spend a hope point.
Okay.
29 with a great success.
Oh, you're like, I could do this all day.
I'm a ranger.
Bother to sleep.
I'm a ranger.
Yeah. You cast yourself on the ground. What's that?
27 with an extraordinary success.
Wonderful. Okay, likewise, you feel refreshed and rested, and travel season. Yes.
31 with a great.
Oh my goodness. Wow. So you all can check mark. You succeed because you spend a hope point.
What do your favorite skills do?
Favorite skills are when you add a hope point. There are times when you're able to add favorite attribute.
So you add the plus
So if
9
it's
to the plus
underlined, let's say travel is underlined. You get to add, if it's a hope point, you're adding not the big circle, but the little one.
I'm going to do that because I rolled poorly.
Okay.
So I'm going to spend a hope point, if that's okay.
Yes, it's fine.
And that's going to give me +8 to lots of roll.
Yeah, you make it.
1d3 with a great success.
Yeah. It's a moderate difficulty. Target of 14 is usually the moderate. So yeah, you guys make it. All right. Okay, guys. So you ride north and around the forest, and let's just see here for a moment. All right. After another day or two, you reach the high hay, a hedge that is, no kidding, about 15 feet high. And it encircles the hamlet of Roscovo. And you walk through the gate. They nod at you, and you're not stopped by anybody. Scattered thatched homes of woodmen lie inside. A path winds its way up to the longhouse, which is a typical woodman settlement. They have a longhouse in the center, where you might be able to find elders. This great building has its back to the wood, and it's faced to the great river, which is a little distance away. And you see these great big doors, double doors, opening to the north and to the south. So, I can show you a picture of it, but really, just imagine it. It should be fine. Again, it's a circular settlement. There's a slight hill at the middle where you see a big, tall longhouse, and then it's a large enough settlement. It's probably about 10 acres. You see there's actually some woods inside the settlement. Off to
It's a very impressive hedge.
Yeah, exactly. Kind of on the northern, on the southern end of the enclosure, you see
We want
you see a
shrubbery.
you see yes, and
We must retrieve it.
you see a wood. A small wood is on the south end of the enclosure. Okay, so what do you want to do? None of you are woodmen, so you wouldn't have been here before unless Poppy. You have, haven't you, Poppy?
Yeah.
Poppy, you would know that if you choose to go straight to where Radagast would normally be found, he would be found in his house in the woods.
Okay.
Or you can talk to the elders, but you already know, you've been here before, and that's where the wizard's house is found.
What route did I walk to get to the Shire from here?
From Dale, typically, you would have gone through the forest, because although the road is not completely, most of it is rebuilt, and it's safe now to travel through it. So that would have been the most direct way, and then over past the Misty Mountains.
Would I run into woodmen at all?
Oh yeah, a little bit, but mostly Bjornings, because they still
talking
have a
about?
toll. They toll it.
Are you talking about his travel to
Yeah.
to the Shire?
Yeah, and you
Would
would
I
have
have done the
same thing, but with a horse, you wouldn't have been able to ride the horse all the way through the forest, just through the parts that are more clear on the travel.
Okay.
So you would have dismounted at time, but again, following the same route over the Misty Mountains.
Okay.
So you didn't go through the southern end like this.
Friends, I have been here before. Radagast will be in the wood. Shall we?
Okay.
Lead the way.
All right. So the Hobbit
Let's
leads the
go.
way, and you defer to her, and you guys go through. You see a path of white stones that is at the edge of the wood, and Poppy knows this from before. That leads to the wizard's house when the wizard's house wants to be found.
Fair. That's fair.
All right.
Glowing blue spirit.
Are wizards ever predictable? PCs, you walk through the trees on a path of white stones, and you see the brown wizard's cottage after a few minutes. A haphazard collection of walls and roof and ivy growing all over the sides.
It's 5 to 12.
Thank you. There are mushrooms growing all around the house, and even a few on the roof. You hear a faint sound of humming coming from inside the cottage.
I'm gonna pull out the standpoint I got of the trees before.
Very good. Okay. After a moment, before you even knock on the door swings open, and a wizard with a disheveled appearance walks out, looking up in the sky. And then a thrush flies down onto his shoulder. He talks to it for a moment. Thrush flies away, and then he just happens to notice you. Oh, hello. Yes. Wow. What can I visit to? And then he sees what you're holding in your hand, and before any of you can even respond, he goes up and looks at it closely and says, "Oh, now that's the oldest piece of birchwood I've seen in a long time. Where did you get such a thing?"
From a clearing of trees that we were investigating in the dead. What was
Brownlands.
in the Brownlands.
Oh, what were you doing in the Brownlands? It's an odd place to be.
Seeking the Entwives.
Seeking the Entwives, really? Ah, why would you be seeking the Entwives? Such an old legend.
Because the Ents are desirous to know how they fare, if indeed they still fare.
I'm a
Yes.
sucker for a good romance.
Yes. Well, you have come to the right place, because my name was also Iwendil, and from the west I was sent by Yavanna when I, along with the 4 other wizards, came to Middle-earth to help in the great struggle against the enemy and the darkness. So I do know something of what you seek, although whether it's still there or not is hard to say. But here's what I can tell you. The Entwives always served the power called Yavanna Kementari, the one whom Eru gave authority over all plants and animals. It was Yavanna that made the 2 trees of Eleanor before there was a sun or moon, one of golden light, Lorlin, and one of silver light, Telperion. But an evil power, Morgoth, and the grandmother of all giant spiders, Ungoliant, killed the trees and took their light. Yes, Yavanna loved to make things grow. She chose me to be one of the 5 wizards to come to Middle-earth, and I've always felt a close kinship with all growing things, but especially what the Entwives sought to do to help things thrive, beasts and fields and plants and flowers. You know that Yavanna, all Ents were her concern because they guard the trees, but Entwives are special. I came, after their gardens were destroyed. I wasn't even here when their gardens were destroyed. But I have never seen an Entwife in the lands of Mirkwood or along the Anduin. If they exist, they are hiding well to escape the eyes of my birds. But this one thing I can tell you, and this is the only thing may help you. Wherever they went, you can be sure of this, because Yavanna gave them power to make the land fertile. You should look for any place that is rich in crops, any place that is known and has a reputation for being fertile, and there perhaps discover their hidden influence. West they have not come. I know this to be true from my vast travels. West they have not come. Of course, the lands northwest of Dale are fertile, as are the lands near the Sea of Nirn in outer Mordor, and then there's Ithilien below Minas Tirith, and of course Dorwinion to the east. and Far Harad, the jungles of the south, where fruit goes well. All of these are potential places you could go. But I know not. You should seek other clues, not only from me. What is your response to him? And then we're going to have to stop at this point.
Thank you so much.
Yes,
We
of course.
appreciate what information you can share.
Yes, yes. Good day, all of you. And then, without any further word, rather antisocially, goes back into his cottage and closes the door.
An advantage.
So,
Surprise
do
me.
you want to make a decision now, or wait until we regroup to make a decision?
I think we can discuss
Okay.
as needed.
Yeah.
We can discuss
Alright.
on that.
Yeah.
Our part.
Yeah. So decision when we get back then.
And one little clue to leave you with. Your knowledge of Quenya that you studied from Elvenbar tells you that Finbrethel, that name that Treebeard actually mentioned, means slender perch in Polish. Perhaps it's no coincidence that ring of trees was perch.
So first we're meeting under the great tree, in front of the Tolkien sign for group photo.
Okay.
And then everybody goes to one tree.
My group knows just enough information to ask me difficult questions.
Yeah.
So, what color is Radagast's shoes? No, not exactly this way.
Brown.
Brown was like everything is brown.
Sample stealer. See, I should be the one making the samples. I'm the curious one. You're not supposed to be stealing samples, man. You're burglar. You're the burglar, man. You're supposed to steal stuff back.
No, I'm supposed to reinvest it.
No.
Burglary is something else. That's illegal. Reinvestment is illegal.
Ooh, that's delicious. So, like, you said, what?
Vanilla wafers and ginger snaps with this. And biscuits and cooked crackers for this one. Yeah. So it's probably.
It's kind of hard.
He stole my canvas. Well, so-and-so says this, that means this. So, right, so that was one of those kind of questions that went last year of, well, I guess my control.
Sorry, just trying to get the crackers open for everybody.
Let me go this way. Maybe I won't. I don't want my cell phone. Yeah, it's right there.
Alright, so is it all handwritten?
Well, turning off the
Okay, so are you digitizing the career notes and stuff?
I just want to make sure
so far.
So there's also a box for four over here.
I like donating 100 quarts.
Yeah, I saw that. I have to do that.
I put it in for a minute. It might have been a little long, but it stayed.
Over on the counter right here.
That's whatever it is.
It is dip. It's got almonds. I wasn't sure if there was nut allergies in the group or not. So
I think I mentioned you the first time you were at the first one I didn't play.
You choose to eat, right?
Not on this side. She actually,
I haven't gotten this one yet, so.
she was like involved, but a lot of she like throw around like comments and such and all about like if someone didn't know what was going on.
Yeah.
They'd be like, oh well, this work thing, like this should have that just work. Yeah.
Okay, who used the microwave without turning off the air conditioner? Who just used the microwave?
I hadn't realized that you were about to do that, so I turned the air conditioner back on. So, that was what?
Hang on, I gotta reset the breaker.
I just wondered if the video is off or.
Oh no, I gotta stop it.
Sorry to interrupt you. Sorry.
So when you go reset the breaker, that's why the sign's up here. Too many watts, too many amps.
Yeah, murder pros. So then you get attacked by that also. I haven't played with my other toy sets. They just now, of course, they're about to set off. They're still kind of talking through their clues.
Okay, whoever wanted the microwave, go to the microwave.
They just went to Brownlands and then they went to Oak Street.
Bunker Bell.
Brownland.